And good afternoon or evening, everyone. This is the Rooftop Sports. We are going to cover the Mariners and the Cleveland Guardians. And the Mariners are not only coming off of I believe they had a sweep against the Texas Rangers, but also Mariners have just came off of a victory yesterday against the Cleveland Guardians. And it was kind of a nerve-wracking game due to the bullpen being a little bit of a struggle, actually more of a struggle. And well, here we are. Mariners are now sitting at 10 games ahead of the division, and most Mariner fans I talked to, man, it was like they're like, yeah, they're like cautiously optimistic, kind of feeling like they don't really feel too great about it because considering what happened in 2002 and 2003, and I think at one point the 2018 Mariners also had a pretty substantial lead in that division, or shall I say, at least the wild card. And only the Mariners were to just blow it up completely, unfortunately. And also, I am possibly going to be joined by Steve Silver, who is one of the guy that you always see all the time doing the color commentating. He shall join. He's doing a show right now of his own. I'm like, Steve, get your butt over here. And right now, man, the weather has just been so weird. I think I got allergies because of that. Like, it went from like 60 degrees yesterday, and now it's like 78 degrees. So when you have an 18-degree jump, of course something is going to happen, unfortunately. But at least I'm holding up okay. I kind of had a little bit of a slight fever at work, or maybe it was just allergies. But I powered through it because I don't like calling out from work. Hashtag don't quit your day job. Just keep showing up, and that's what I do. Just like I'm showing up for you guys for this channel. And we're getting ready for the game. And let's go over the starting rotation, the starting lineup. We've got Tanner BB. He is going to be the pitcher. And I wonder if I'm still in time to even add anyone in fantasy baseball right now. If the stats have already been on the roll, then it's going to be too late. So let me take a look and see if I can add Tanner BB, because I don't know if the Mariners are, especially with Brian Wu as the pitcher, I don't know if they're going to even provide any kind of a run support for the Mariners. And players have already played, so I can't really get anyone. And up against is going to be Brian Wu, who has just been outstanding this season. He is now 3-0 with a 1.07 ERA, 0.53 WHIP, 24 strikeouts, and he nearly refuses to walk. Only 2 walks, and he's only given up 1 home run, and it was against the New York Yankees. So Brian Wu may be a tough guy to hit off of, but so may Tanner BB. He is 4-2 with a 3.94 ERA, with a 1.17 WHIP, 87 strikeouts to 20 walks, but he does give up 10 home runs. So maybe the Mariners, just maybe, they can put some damage to them. And if anyone's watching, hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification. Also, donate to the channel Rooftop Sports and help this channel grow. And we are going to get ready within the next 10 minutes. And now let's take a look at the starting lineups for the Mariners. We got J.P. Crawford at shortstop. Then we got Josh Rojas, number 2. Julio Rodriguez batting third, which he should absolutely be in that position. Then we got Cal Raleigh, Ty France, Luke Raley, Mitch Haniger, Dom Canzone, and Dylan Moore. And all these guys have been hitting quite some bombs. Like Luke Raley's been playing very well. Dom Canzone, don't really feel good about him. And now let's take a look at the injury report. We got Gregory Santos, ETA is July 9th. Taylor Dollard's pretty much out for the season until June 26th, but I don't really see much of a use for him. Jorge Polanco, he's on a 10-day IL, so unclear when he's going to be back, but he's on rehab. Rangel Ravello, he hasn't really played at all. He's been injured. And then we got Heath Hembry, which I don't really know of at all. And Luke Raley yesterday, I think he hit the home run yesterday, which he did, which they're just showing on the highlights. And starting lineup is going to be Stephen Kwan. Then we got Andres Jimenez, Ramirez, Naylor, Fry, Brennan, I can't even say that guy's name. Then Freeman and Bo Naylor, the catcher. And looks like I got one viewer. We got Daniel Sports Highlights. Thank you. I just also want to say thank you very much for Also, not only subscribing to my channel, which you've always had, but also donating to my channel. And also, thank you very much for even joining my membership. And I hope you enjoy that membership. So, yeah. Dodgers come back with 5 runs. Yeah. Monty Williams got fired. Yep, pretty much. Okay, Google. Who does Monty Williams coach for?
I don't know, but I found these results on search.
Alexa, who is Monty Williams?
Monty Williams is an American professional basketball coach, executive, and former player. He served as the head coach for the Phoenix Suns from 2009 and was relieved of his head coaching duties from the Suns in 2023.
Yeah, sounds about right. And I'm also going to show some softball highlights as well, as we are waiting for the starting pitching in just moments. I'm going to show all of them, actually. Let me take a look. I got this. I got that. Still waiting on the Steven Silver. The Steven Silver, that is. Game's about to start in about 7 minutes, so we're going to get ready for it soon. And also, when Steven gets here... hold on, let me see. Jay Trident just texted me. Until then, I'm about to do... oh, man, what is it? Give me just a moment. Going to take a little breather. SeatGeek is a mobile ticketing app for sporting events, concerts, and other events. They make the buying experience easier by the app ranking each ticket from 0 to 10 to see if you are getting a good deal, and you can see exactly where you are sitting. I regularly use that app, and I have had nothing but a fantastic experience with SeatGeek. Use my promo code RooftopSports to get $20 off of your first purchase. Link to the code, app, and website will be in the description, so take advantage, and thank you. Yep, and use that promo code Rooftop Sports for your $20 off. And looks like the game is about to be started in just a moment, and they are showing the highlights for... not the highlights, they're showing the starting intro kind of video, so we're going to get right to it in just moments. Yep, we are here in Cleveland, Ohio. It's going to be the Cleveland Guardians versus the Seattle Mariners. And I know I'm not supposed to say the other name because I don't want to get canceled and stuff. But fans are piling in to watch another baseball game. It's a very beautiful weather there in Cleveland. It looks like I got 6 people on this show so far, 3 of them on the Twitter X. If you could head over to the YouTube, that would be great because I care more about the YouTube part than the Twitter X part. Mariners are now 44-31. Guardians are 44-26. So maybe this is like the even matchup of this league, of the American League. Guardians hold a 4.5 game lead on the Minnesota Twins, along with the Kansas City Royals. And the Mariners, they hold the largest division lead in all of Major League Baseball. Mariners have a 10-game lead on the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers, which is amazing. We did not think that this was ever going to happen. And we got Tanner Beebe. He has 20 walks, 87 strikeouts. And we're getting ready for that first pitch. And this first pitch is going to be brought to you by SeatGeek. Use the promo code Rooftop Sports, get your $20 off. And BB has a four-seam fastball, a slider, as far as I see. And we are getting ready, and it's going to be JP Crawford that's going to be the leadoff hitter for today. Alexa, turn on the lights.
Okay.
And we are getting ready for that first pitch in just a few moments. I know I said that before. I wonder where Steven Silver's up to. He's probably still doing a show right now. Trying to get him to be like, yo, get over here.
Paniagua made the team out of spring training.
He's still doing his thing. Now here is JP Crawford. He is heading up and getting ready to go. Feels like this is taking forever. Maybe that's just me. And now we are here. And now JP Crawford is about to take his first at bat. He's batting .208 with 7 home runs and 21 RBIs. And now here is the first pitch. And that is going to be in there for a strike. And we are underway here at Progressive Field. BB is getting set. And he is set. And here's the 0-1 pitch. And that is going to be up high for a ball. 1-1 to count. JP Crawford with 2 extra base hits last night. Home run and a double. Second time this season. And now here's the 1-1 pitch. And that's going to be in there for a strike. He's a bit outside the strike zone. He sold the frame job. And now it's going to be a 1-2 count. He's already down to 1-2 and just 3 pitches. Crawford with 12 career leadoff home runs. And now here is the 1-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss. Strike 3. And down he goes. And now we've got 1 down. Now here is Josh Rojas. Batting second in the order. He did have a very hot start, but now he has cooled down since. The pitch. And that is outside for a ball. It's going to be a 1-0 count. Rojas with batting .266 with 4 home runs and 15 RBIs. Rojas is batting 2 for 5 in this series, at least from last game. Now here's the pitch. And that's going to be right in there for a strike. Last 3 games, batting 5 for 12, 3 RBIs, and 5 runs scored. And now we're looking at the 1-1, and here is the pitch. And now here's a fly ball, more like a pop-up, and that is going to be fielded. And there he is. Center fielder makes the catch. There was some kind of miscommunication at first. Maybe it was going to drop in by accident, but it doesn't happen. And now we've got 2 down. And now we got Julio Rodriguez, the star of the Mariners, who has been playing a little bit better since the end of April. Batting third in the order. Stephen Vogt, the manager of the Cleveland Guardians. And now here is the pitch. And that is going to be inside for a ball. And Julio is actually 0 for 5 in this series. J.P. Crawford's... Oh, well, why am I talking about J.P. Crawford? Talk about the home runs from yesterday. J.P. Crawford and Moore hit those home runs yesterday. And now here is the pitch. And that's going to be in there for a strike. Home run 2 times in his last 5 games. And now here's the 1-1. And that is a swing and a miss, strike 2. And Julio Rodriguez is down to that last strike. Could be for this inning too. Tanner Beebe is getting the set. And now here is the 1-2 pitch. And that is going to be low for a ball. We're looking at a 1-2 count. It's going to be 2-2 for Julio. Batting .264. And now here's the 2-2. And now here is a line drive base hit into right field. And Julio Rodriguez gets on the board with a single. And next up is going to be the big dumper, Cal Raleigh, up to the plate. With 1 on, 2 outs. Nice hit, solid hit by Julio. That's his first hit of the series. And now we're looking at Cal Raleigh. He's batting cleanup. And here's the pitch. And now here is a fly ball right field, fouled. Had a nice swing to it, but it just got away. And now it's an 0-1 count for Cal Raleigh. Raleigh is 1 for 5 in this series. And speak of catchers, Sebi Zavala just got cut from the team. And now we're looking at the 0-1. And now here's the pitch. Upside, and that's going to be ball. 2-1. Or shall I say 1-1 to count. Now here's the 1-1. And that is going to be in there for a strike. 1-2 for Cal Raleigh. Batting .206. Batting with a 285 OBP. Not good. 395 slugging and a 680 OPS. Last season, Tanner Beebe was 10-4 with a 2.98 ERA. And Cal Raleigh is waiting. And now here's the 1-2. And that's a swing and a miss, strike 3, and that is going to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the first. No score, absolutely whatsoever. And also, I did make a video on Dennis Rodman. If you care about the Sonics part of my content, I have that for you guys, and I will share that right now. Here is going to be the link to the video, and I will show you the preview of the video. It's about the first few 34 seconds. Here you go. In the 1995-1996 NBA season, Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls won an at-the-time regular season record 72 games. They went on to eventually win the 1996 NBA Finals against the Seattle Supersonics in 6 games and were considered the greatest NBA team in history. Michael Jordan went on to win the 1996 Finals MVP, which was an amazing moment considering that he had lost his father 3 years earlier.
This is my daddy. I'm very happy for you.
But what if I were to tell you that it was his teammate Dennis Rodman that should have won the Finals MVP? And he absolutely should have. But if you would like to see that video, I did link you to that. So go ahead and check out that video when you get the opportunity. And now we're just waiting for commercial breaks to end. And I do have a game for Steven Silver to play with me, but I need him here. And I think it will be a really fun game. And now we are back from the break. And now Brian Wu is going to be up to the plate. And now here's the pitch. And that is up high for a ball. And now here's the 1-0 pitch to Stephen Kwan. And that is going to be up high for a ball, 2-0. And now we're looking at the 2-0. And that is going to be popped and fouled. And now Stephen Kwan is awaiting. And we are looking at the 2-1 pitch. And that's going to be fouled. And it's going to be right back to strike 2. And now we're looking at the 2-2 pitch. And that's going to be outside for a ball again. And that's going to be a 3-2 count. And Wu is going. Here's a set. And that's going to be ball 4, take your base. Unfortunately so. And Wu has a 4-seam fastball, sinker, changeup, sweeper, and a slider. And now we're looking at Andres Jimenez. Now here's the pitch. And that is a strike. And we're looking at the 0-1. And the throw to first. And not in time. And now here's the pitch. And that's going to be outside for a ball. And we're looking at the 1-1 for Jimenez, the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 2. And we're looking at the 1-2 count for Brian Wu. For Andres Jimenez is on 9 pitches. Wu did walk the first batter. That was Stephen Kwan. He's a tough guy to strike out, to be honest with you, which is why he's a leadoff hitter. And now we're looking at the 1-2 for Andres Jimenez. He's having a little bit better at bat against him. And now here's the 1-2. And that's a foul tip. And that's going to still be a 1-2 count. And now we're looking at the 1-2. And now here is a fly ball to center field, but Julio is going to be there. And he makes the catch. And that's going to be 1 down and no tag. Brian Wu's strike rate is substantial, 72%. He does not pitch a lot of balls, I can tell you that. And now we're looking at Ramirez, and now here's the pitch. And that is going to be a strike. He's batting third in the order. He was on my fantasy team last year. I don't know how I felt how he did with me. And now we're looking at the 0-1 count on Jose Ramirez. And now here's the pitch. And now here's a ground ball foul.
You know, Cleveland's also also leading the Central, 44 wins.
I'm really going to ping Steven Silver at this point. And now here's the pitch. And that is going to be a swinging foul ball. And now we're looking at 2. And now here's the pitch. And that is a foul ball. And we're looking at the 0-2 for Jose Ramirez. And now here's the 0-2. And that's going to hit the dirt. That's going to be a ball 1. And we're looking at the 1-2 count for Jose Ramirez, who's been fighting it off. 16 pitches so far for Brian Wu. Not good for that pacing. And now here's the 1-2 pitch. And that is going to be fouled. And he's really just fighting it off. Wu with now 17 pitches so far. Bryce Miller being shown talking to Logan Gilbert. And now we're looking at the 1-2. And now here's the pitch. And that is fouled again. And Jose Ramirez continues to fight it off against the mighty Brian Wu. This makes me a little bit nervous. And now we're looking at the 1-2. And here's the 1-2. And that is up high for a ball, 2-2 the count. And now Ramirez is awaiting the 2-2 pitch. And now here's a ground ball, line drive, and that's going to be a base hit. That's going to move the runner to third base, Stephen Kwan. And Jose Ramirez gets in there for a single. Now we got runners at the corner. With only 1 out, they got to get Jose Ramirez out of there. Last night, runners in scoring position. Mariners were 4 of 17. Guardians, 3 of 16. And now we are looking at the pitch to Josh Naylor. And that's going to be a swing and a miss. Strike 1. Mr. Silver, you're back.
Good afternoon, guys.
Yeah, we missed you very much. Talking about Paul Abbott. You were talking about Paul Abbott at least.
Sure, yeah. Paul Abbott, who
0-1 pitch.
who peaked in 2001.
Now here's a ground ball foul. 17-4, 4-point-something ERA.
Yeah, you know, and it was great when you were looking at. Traditional stats as you know they did back in the 90s and early 2000s. We didn't really start hearing about Saber until 2002 to 2004. But that being said, I mean, when you look at his 2001, Abbott had a phenomenal year. But are you asking me, would I rather take a guy in the 4 spot, a guy like Bryce Miller versus a guy like Paul Abbott? 100%. As much as he had a great year, Bryce Miller is the better 4.
He has the upside.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he's also got the stuff too. Paul Abbott wishes he had Bryce Miller stuff.
Paul Abbott bailed out Jose Mesa sort of on July 15th, 1999.
Sure.
The pitch 0-2, and that is fouled. It was when Jose Mesa was, man, what did he do? He like walked the entire thing, and then Lou Pennell's like, screw this. Then because he walked to tie the game, but then Paul Abbott gave it a sacrifice. But other than that, he mopped it pretty well. We couldn't blame Paul Abbott for that sacrifice fly though, because bases were freaking loaded. But
Right.
Paul Abbott got out of it quickly, and I think he would have gotten out. I think he would have gotten that save if he was allowed to close that game. The 0-2, and that is fouled. And that's Mariners could have won their inaugural game against the Padres in '99.
I remember that game. As a matter of fact, I wasn't at that game. I was at the next day. I was at
The Sterling Hitchcock game where he completely buried the Mariners.
Yeah, I was at that game.
You just, if only you went to the game the day after and the 2 days after.
Ooh.
And now we're looking at the 0-2 for Josh Naylor. And now here's a pitch, runner goes. And now here's a line drive, and that is going to be a base hit. Runner is going to score. Now we got runners on first and third, as Ramirez gets to third base, and Cleveland leads it 1-0.
Yeah, and it looks like Naylor just took a fastball and dumped it into left field. In right field right there. Isn't this Cleveland Indian baseball? They don't hit for a ton of power, but man, it's death by 1,000 paper cuts, because this is what they will do. They will rack up a couple singles, put runners in motion, and here we are now. And now Brian Wu all of a sudden, still with only 1 out, runners on the corner, and the Indians are up 1-0.
I hate to say this. I love the Wahoo, but we have to keep it Guardians, because I don't want YouTube to be like, bad boy, putting you on timeout.
Yeah, but you know what though? They're always going to be the Cleveland Indians, and that's the thing. It's like it was one thing when they decided to retire Chief Wahoo. Fair. I can understand that, because they just put the dorky C on their hat and it is what it is. That's fine. But you know what though? It's not. There was no cry for them to get rid of it. They got out in front of it just in case. And I thought that was I thought they were taking a big dump on their history, but that's just me.
Maybe the getting rid of the Wahoo was what got the attention.
No, look, as I remember it, was that there were a lot of criticisms about Chief Wahoo.
0-1, and now that's a foul ball.
And they did the right thing by retiring it. But that's the thing. It's like I don't think there was anything wrong with with the name Indians. Okay, so are we going to make a big deal about the Seminoles? Are we going to make a big deal about the Chiefs, the Braves, all Native American? You know what I mean? All have the same kind. Like where do we draw the line? You know what I mean? Redskins was one thing, Indians is something completely different, and I just think they take away from their baseball history.
I know it's tragic.
And the Guardians are such a terrible name. That is a terrible name.
They had to buy the copyright rights for that. They were getting sued for the 0-2. And a swing and a miss, strike 3.
Why not go back to the original Cleveland Spiders? They were the Spiders before.
Yeah, Cleveland Spiders would be cool.
Yep, it is tragic flick. But it looks like Wu got the punch out right there.
I got one. Cleveland Swing State.
The Swing States, yeah. How about the LeBrons 2.0 or 3.0?
Yeah, Cleveland LeBrons. And now here is Will Brennan. And here is the pitch. And now that is fly ball. Actually, that could be a little bit of a running. But Julio was there and makes the catch. Catches it last second. And that's going to retire the side. but man, Brian Wu really got tramped on that one. A lot of pitches in, gave up 1 run.
Well, the good news is that it was only 1. It could have been a lot worse. So he was able to get out of a jam and only have 1. And so now it is fastball control from this point on, settle down, and get himself into a rhythm. And it starts obviously with the bottom of the second. But for the Mariners now, this was something that you had to avoid. Getting into an early hole. And so now it's up for the Mariner offense to put some pressure. Put some pressure on PB.
Put some pressure. Now I got a game for us to play. I think it's going to take at least a couple innings, but here is the picture. $15 budget.
Right?
You have to provide me an infielder, an outfielder, starting pitcher, closer, and designated hitter. You have $15 to spend. Howard Lincoln and John Stanton would love to play this game.
All right, so give me infielder.
I'm already putting A-Rod.
Yeah, give me A-Rod. Give me A-Rod at short. Let's see.
Yep, now $10 left.
Yep. So then let me get.
Next is going to be outfielder.
Yeah, let me get. Hold on real quick. All right, give me.
After this one, we got to get back from the break. Yep.
Yep. Give me Julio Rodriguez with the $2.
All right, and we will conclude it after this, after the offensive by the Mariners, if they can provide any offense. And now here's Ty France.
Let me ask you how you feel about Ty France and his role, knowing that they still have Locklear on the roster who needs to be playing every day.
He does. The pitch. Like, my personal things, first, it's a strike.
Yep.
I like Locklear. He seems to have much more plate discipline than Ty France does, even though there are times where Locklear's like, yo, you didn't have to swing at that. And here's the 0-1, and that is in there for a strike. I like the upside of Locklear. He seems to have more pop in his bat than France does. Seems to be more of that prototypical first baseman. I mean, Ty France wasn't even originally a first baseman, if I remembered.
Yeah, he was second base, third baseman.
Yeah, exactly.
They swapped him to first.
And that's 1 and 2. But yeah, Locklear, I do like him. He really should play every day. They may have to move Ty France if he can get his value up. And now here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, just like that.
Yeah. Well, when you bring up a guy like Locklear, you have to play him every single day. And the problem with Locklear is he's barely a serviceable first baseman, so it's not like you can just dump him at third. He's either a DH or he's a first baseman, right? And last week he was 4 of 18, 2 home runs, 2 RBIs. He did have 9 Ks, but that being said, it's like, okay, you're willing to live with that because you're absolutely right. He showed that he can hit with some pop.
And Luke Raley takes 1 for a strike.
And he's got to play, man.
Just like Luke Raley, like the Mariners wouldn't play him for much of April, and then once they played him, they're like, "Oh, right, that's why we traded him for."
Right. And if you're going
0-2,
and if that's the thing, it's like if you're going to give him the Zebby Savala, Luke Raley treatment, and he's only going to see the plate once a week, he might as well be down in Tacoma.
And strike 3 called, and that is going to be 2 down as Luke Raley goes down in strikes.
Yeah.
And now we've got 2 down.
That was right down the plate.
It's like, what was he doing? Meditating? And now we've got Mitch Haniger up to the plate. And some Mariner fans are probably want me to eat my words when I said I was okay getting rid of Teoscar. Now here's the pitch. And I said that Mitch Haniger is the upgrade. I didn't say he was the upgrade. I said that he's more of a fit for the team than Teoscar. But it is what it is.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's like, let me ask you, if Teoscar was on this team, is he going to be producing the way he's producing this year in LA?
He wouldn't. He would not at all.
I think he would still be on the same trajectory as he had in 2023.
Which I think Abker, your friend, would have actually been okay with.
And you're giving him a $4 million raise off his 16 of last year. with the
2-0 pitch to Haniger, and that is going to be in there for a strike.
You know, I would like to see Mitch Haniger only playing versus left-handed pitching at this time.
2-1 pitch, and that's going to be a strike too.
You know, as much as I don't like Dom Canzone, I'd rather see an outfield versus right-handed pitcher with Canzone in left and Rayleigh in right, or vice versa.
And now we are looking at the 2-2. And now here is Mitch Haniger awaiting. And we are looking at the 2-2 pitch on the way. And check swing, did he go? It looks like, did he go? Oh, it looks like he did go. And that's going to be strike 3, and that's going to retire the side. We go to top of the second, 1-0 Cleveland.
Wow, that was because it didn't look like he went at all, and it looked like I thought for a second BB, because he made that exacerbated motion at the mound. For a second, I thought BB got thrown out there for a second. I was like, whoa.
Hey. All right, I am getting close. I'm getting done with my list, and you can do yours.
Yeah,
let's do that.
All right, so I got A-Rod. All right, so A-Rod. I'm gonna go infielder. Oh, I already got an infielder. Let me get. I'm gonna get another one. I'm gonna take a $2 Adrian Beltre.
Adrian Beltre for the in. Are you going to take another infielder?
Yeah.
You have to do infield. You already did infield, so you have to put outfielder.
All
you already did outfielder. Now it's starting pitcher, closer, and then designated hitter.
All right. Let me go. Julio.
Yep, you did that. You got Julio and A-Rod so far.
Yeah, so that's 5. That's 2. So now I need a DH, a reliever, and a starter. Okay.
Or closer.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Kaz Sasaki.
Fair.
For 2. So that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then I need a DH
and a starter.
Let me get Logan Gilbert.
Logan as your starter?
Mm-hmm. And that's $1.
Bargain.
I got 5. And then for my DH, obviously, I'm going to go Edgar.
Woo! Well, I'll show you mine in just moments, and that is going to be a ball. We will reveal our final team, and once we get to commercial break, and
it was hard resisting. It was hard resisting Junior going.
It really was.
Rod and Junior, and then trying to fill it in. So
everyone, all the Mariner fans would be like Junior as their first pick. And we're looking at the 1-1 for Daniel Schneemann.
I love Junior, but come on, it's A-Rod.
We're looking at the 1-1. And here is the pitch. And now here's a line drive caught by Ty France right on his knees, and that's going to be 1 down.
Yeah, good play by Ty right there.
You do, yes.
And there you go, man. Good first out. That's perfect.
Ty France is like, woo! And now we've got whoever is next up to the plate. We got Tyler Freeman up to the plate.
That's funny. The Cleveland.
And here is the pitch, and that is popped up and fouled.
Yeah, and if you're noticing, Brian Wu is still a little high in the strike zone with his fastball. I mean, it does look like the movement is there. It just looks like he's just leaving it up a tad.
It really is. And now here is the 0-1. And now here's a ground ball right to Dylan Moore. Throw to first, and it's in time. And just it feels like a few pitches. We're already got 2 down so far. This is so far. This could be the polar opposite of the first inning.
Yeah, and this is good because he's working quick and he's working efficient. And
which Brian Wu has shown he can do.
I'm just happy that he's back because I think Brian Woo's got the best fastball in this rotation. I think it's about as close to an 80 grade fastball as you're going to find. And when that's working, his secondary pitches are absolutely phenomenal, and he's able just to straight up deal. So it's all about the fastball command. And I'm also thrilled that the MRI came back negative and there was no structural damage. Obviously he missed his last start, so it's nice seeing Woo back.
And it was, and we gotta give props, gotta give credit to Emerson Hancock, although and he pitched as well as he could. It's just the runner, there was just no run support. But whenever he is asked to be that guy, which is why I think he is the long reliever of the future, as he should be, that's where he could be useful in the future.
Yeah, I mean, outside of that start in Milwaukee, you're absolutely right. He's done everything they've asked him to do. And I actually think that there's going to be specific pockets this year when the Mariners go with a 6-man rotation, because as you know, they didn't bring Hancock up for without a reason. They did it so they can push their top 3 to the Texas series. And I have a feeling that you're going to see more often of that later this year, giving the starters an extra day's rest, maybe using Hancock on getaway days and using that day off in between series. I can see Hancock actually having more of a role going forward with the Mariners. And I think you're right. I think maybe some usage out of the bullpen would benefit him as well too.
1-2, and that is going to be a foul ball. But that's if I wonder if these pitchers, because most of them I would assume start out as starting pitchers, but then there is that humility if they are willing to take on that kind of role. Like Mariano Rivera started as a starting pitcher.
Sure. I would think for a guy like Hancock who just wants to be in the big leagues, I think he would take it and would be grateful for the opportunity.
And now here's a fly ball to right field, foul, and it was just foul. Well, not just foul, but it was in that direction. And we're looking at the 1-2. Current losing streak they have is 3 so far for the Cleveland Guardians. Yeah. 41 pitches for Brian Woo.
Leading the American League Central. They're a very good team, and they're back to what they were 2 years ago.
1-2. And now here's a fly ball to deep right field, and that is going to drop in for a base hit, and that is going to be a double for the Cleveland Guardians.
Yep, fastball high again, right at the top of the zone, and that was no doubt about it. He got it all. And that's the that's one of the things you're looking to avoid. If you're going to go high, you want to go high and inside, high and tight, and try to get the bat out in front of it. But he left that up and out, and that was crushed for an extra base hit.
We can only hope that we can get out of this inning, and it will still be a quality inning.
Oh, boy.
The fact you said "ooh" makes me a little bit nervous. And now here is the pitch, and that is a strike. And my game is like way at the front.
Yeah, and I think I might be just a skosh ahead of you, but not by much, like by a pitch.
And we're looking at the 0-1 pitch to Stephen Kwan, who walked into the pitch. And now here's a fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone. That is a home run for Stephen Kwan, and the Guardians have just extended their lead to 3-0. That was just blasted. The moment I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's gone.
Fastball in, and he turned on it and got it all. That thing was crushed.
Whew.
And that's, fastball in on the hands. And that's kind of where you want that fastball in. But, he caught a good portion of the plate, and that was crushed. And this is going to be a situation of, because you liked what happened at the start of the inning. He got 2 quick outs, and then it was a double, and then the 2-run bomb. So, the question is can he rebound and keep this, give you 5 unscathed and kind of keep it here at 3, or is this going to be a situation where you're going to see your bullpen by the 4th?
Which we really hope not to see, because that bullpen is just not sustainable.
Yeah.
And it has proven it. Like,
I will say that the bullpen did well over the course of this last week. Outside of Edward Barzado in that second game of the Rangers series, I actually thought the bullpen actually fared fairly well this last week.
And now here's a fly ball to right field. Woo! and that will make the catch, and that is going to retire the side. We go to the bottom, the top of the third, 3-0 Cleveland, and now
by
we
the
got
way, I was going to say, like, this is the type of game that Emerson Hancock would pay dividends. Where your starter isn't, your starter is getting knocked around early, and if you have to go to the bullpen and need a guy that can give you 4 innings out of the bullpen, this is where Emerson Hancock pays huge dividends. Right,
he would have been, yes. And now it's time to look at our final team edition.
Did they? By the way, did they send him down?
They did send him down.
Yeah,
prime.
I thought so.
For infield, we both chose A-Rod because 2000 A-Rod makes the case. 10 WAR wins above replacement. Yeah. Outfield, we both agreed on Julio Rodriguez because we cannot afford anything on Mike Cameron. And as much as I love Mike Cameron, I think he's overvalued in that budget range.
Oh yeah, in that $4 range, that might be a little, like, he's a $3 guy,
he's
not necessarily
2 or 3 guy.
Yeah, he's a 2 or 3 guy.
Starting pitcher, you chose Logan Gilbert for $1, which you got an insane bargain on that.
Oh, I got a huge bargain on that.
I went all in for Randy Johnson because I need that sure bet starter.
See, but so now you're trying to piece together the last $5 because you're gonna have to piece this together correctly. So I'm curious to see what your final 3 is.
Final 2 is
closer.
We chose Kazuhiro Sasaki, both of them.
100%.
That is a bargain.
Well, considered that Diaz is a $4 and Sasaki have the better Mariners career.
I'm choosing 100%. Kazu.
Yeah.
And then for designated hitter, I chose the dumper as the designated hitter because it was either like Dan Wilson, Sean Figgins, or dumper. The dumper.
Well, now is that necessarily fair though, considering he's a catcher, so he's an infielder?
No, it's for DH.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
and you chose Edgar Martinez,
of course,
because you needed that consistency.
So say your 5 again, real quick.
In a moment. Here's the pitch to Canzone, inside for a ball. I chose A-Rod, Julio, Randy, Kazuhiro Sasaki, and dumper. So I'm gonna suffer in strikeouts, but I have A-Rod and Randy to make up for it.
I went A-Rod, Julio, Sasaki, Gilbert, and Edgar. I think I'm doing quite well with
yours is probably more balanced. I think yours is more balanced than mine because you were willing to go with Logan Gilbert, but I went heavy for Randy Johnson because 95, 2001.
Oh, dude. I mean, Randy Johnson, even in his Mariners career, regardless, 96 he was hurt a little bit. 97 was a phenomenal year. 95 when the Cy Young,
swinging a miss strike too.
Like, dude, he was unhittable. Like next to Pedro in the 90s, he was unhittable.
Unless it was the 98 Randy, but that doesn't really count.
I think with Logan, I'm going to get a quality start, and he's going to keep me in the ball game. And then I have an offense that's going to absolutely
2-2
rake. So,
and Canzone did not have to swing at that. Canzone absolutely did not have to swing at that at all.
Nope. Black hole.
That's what he does. He has a beautiful home run swing, but the ugliest strikeout swing ever. He's an extreme.
Yeah, what's funny is, BB throws his 4-seam fastball. He throws it like 40% of the time, averages 95, but he's also a slider guy.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. And there I said it, the ugly strikeout swing that Dominic Canzone has.
And, he's a heavy slider guy 30% of the time. So it's coming. That's the crazy thing is it's coming. And if he does his job and gets ahead, that you're not going to see a fastball. And it's amazing that they're just swinging through the slider. This might be a 12 to 14 strikeout night.
It could be. And now here's the pitch to Moore. And I kind of felt it was coming because you didn't. Yeah. As good as a team Cleveland is, they're not going to just bow down after the first game.
Correct. And they're a first place team, and they're probably going to be on their way to a potential 90-win season this year.
And it's a challenge, and this was a challenge that Seattle needed because their schedule was a little bit lighted, with the exception of the Kansas City series, and they did not win that series. Yeah,
the crazy thing though is this series to me wasn't the one that I had circled on this road trip, because I think the Mariners have proven that they can hang with other playoff teams. They seem to show up quite well in that situation. It's going to be the Marlins going down to Miami for 3, and then Tampa Bay, 2 teams that are sitting at the bottom of their standings. And the Mariners have a propensity to play down to their competition sometimes.
And now here's a ground ball right to Ramirez, the throw to first, and that is in time. But I did like the hustle by Dylan Moore, but just wasn't enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about the most, is the next 2 series.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, yeah, whatever, we got this.
Yeah, right. And 10 times out of 10, they should take 2 out of 3 or at least sweep the Marlins. But it's going to be what mindset do they come in, and are they going to play down to the Marlins and end up losing?
And how Scott Service is going to use his rotation.
Yeah.
And here's the pitch to Crawford, and that is a foul ball. JP Crawford batting .207 with 7 home runs and 21 RBIs. And on commercial break, we're going to talk about your case, because your video that you had last week was I thought it was a good video. It was easy to listen to for many reasons. And now we're looking at the 0-1, and here is the pitch, and that is inside. We're going to talk about the case for nobody's untouchable in the farm system. And this previous Sunday with Johnny Farmelo is kind of validating that case.
Yeah, for
some ways.
It sucks because Farmelo got
1-1
hurt.
Apply for a ball.
We'll talk about it at the break for sure. But I keep seeing YouTube video from Mariner Podcast talking about Felny and Celestine, about how this dude's a superstar, and yet he's still in rookie ball.
Still at the ACL, and the Mariners still haven't moved him up to Modesto, which they should by now. But it's kind of congested with Colt Emerson and Ty Pete, so they can't really put him in anywhere.
And it's unless Celestine, all of a sudden just goes Super Saiyan in the minors and just proves that.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Down goes Crawford. Another 1-2-3 inning for Cleveland. We go to the bottom of the 3rd, still 3-0. And now we're going to talk about the case of nobody's untouchable. Now, let me start off. I am one of those Mariner podcaster and YouTubers that still says my 2 untouchables are Montez because future Yordan Alvarez, and shortstop Felny and Celestine because he's a beast. And now Steve Silver, you have your case against the nobody untouchable.
Yeah,
take it away.
I don't believe in untouchable prospects. And the reason why I don't believe that is because I like Las Montez, and I think he could eventually be. But especially with Felny and Celestine and Las Montez, you're talking about 2 guys that probably won't see Seattle for another 3 years at the earliest. The way that they're using them in the minors, they're one's still in the instructional league, the other one's in Modesto. And, that's the thing. It's like, unless these dudes seriously hit the ball to a point where they leave no doubt, we're talking about prospects that are 3 years away. And then once they get up to the big leagues, they have to establish themselves. And so they're not going to be Yordan Alvarez or A-Rod from the moment they step into the big leagues. It's going to take time for them to adjust to the big leagues. So they're not going to be that for at least 6 years.
It's a fair point.
And the Mariners have a 10-game lead in the division right now, which means they're about to do something they haven't done in 23 years, which is win the division and put themselves in a position to avoid the wild card round and put themselves on a good path to get to a World Series. That has to be the priority now. And so if you can get a player who is a 130 WRC plus type of guy, who is an all-star, and you can get him for a year or 2, as much as I like those prospects, I'm trading them to bolster this lineup now.
And the good thing about the Mariners is Jerry Dipoto and company, and even before Jerry Dipoto, they do have people working in the Dominican Republic looking at watching 10-year-olds play little league ball to see if they are the future. Here's the pitch by Wu, and that is a strike.
And that's the other thing about this is if the Mariners were the Pat Gillick run Mariners, where he was brought in to win a championship and not rebuild the farm system, or a guy like Bill Bavasiu, who traded whatever prospects that were in the
Top
organization.
third base, and Rojas is there. Go ahead.
I would understand that, but Jerry Dipoto and Justin Hollander have done a great job drafting and signing international prospects, and they seem to reload. I mean, this team has rebuilt their farm system twice over the last 6 years already, when they graduated a bunch of prospects to the big leagues. So they've not only have been able to rebuild on the fly, they've done it in an excellent way, to the point where if you do trade a Laz Montez or a Felnine Celestine, the reality is that they're probably going to redraft those guys in a full calendar year, or get another guy from the Dominican sooner rather than later.
And Naylor takes one for a ball, 1-0. And there are other things I was going to say too, and I totally forgot. And we're looking at the 1-0 to Josh Naylor. And here is the pitch. And now here's a fly ball to right field, and Canzone is going to be there, and he makes the catch. And we also have to add to the fact that the Mariners need to add at least one bullpen arm to fix those problems too.
And it can't just be waiting for Santos to get back, because
they have been moving the goalposts on him quite a bit.
That's exactly right. That can't be your answer. And that's the thing. It's like, listen, what is your priority? Is it holding on to prospects because they might be Yordan Alvarez in 6 years, or is your priority winning a World Series? Because
this seems to be the best window, because I've never seen so much parity.
Right. That's exactly right. Well, not only the American League is down this year, but you're sitting 10 games up in the division. And
1-0.
Texas.
And now here's a fly ball to right field, and Canzone is there, and he makes the catch, and that is going to retire the side. And to add your point, also, even the National League, the only team I'm really maybe scared of is the Phillies. Dodgers, sure, they have Ohtani and unlimited bats, but their pitching is absolute dog.
And that's my other point. Teams like the Dodgers, Phillies, and the Astros do this every single year, where they make these tough decisions, but they're also very good drafters and developers, right? So they use their minor league system. Sure, they bring up prospects that they know are going to play a role, but those that have value get moved out so they can plug their 26-man roster to make a run at a World Series. This is what good teams do, not being afraid to make a tough decision. And like I said, man, I like Laz Montez, and I would love to see him in a Mariner uniform. But if you're saying that I can get a guy like Luis Robert Jr. for the next 3 years at a very decent team friendly deal, and he's going to be healthy, and I can get him for a couple top prospects, and maybe get maybe a major leaguer like Ty France and a couple top prospects for him, 100% I'm doing that.
And it's already happened where the Mariners have recovered from their losses. Was when they traded away Nove Marte and Arroyo to get Luis Castillo, but yet the Mariners still had Cole Young and Celestine to make up for it, more than make up for it, because now Arroyo hasn't really done much, and Marte has already been suspended.
But I mean, if you're telling, like, that's the thing, is they're not getting rid of all of their top prospects. I probably would assume that Colt Emerson's going to stay in their organization. I would probably assume Felnine Celestine is going to stay in the organization as well too. But a guy like Cole Young, maybe even a guy like Tyler Locklear, who's going to have value. That's the thing. It's like
maybe Harry Ford.
And Harry Ford, because you would like to think that they're probably going to make a run at keeping Cal Raleigh in Seattle for a very long time. So
it's like, what's the point? It's like, what's the point for Harry Ford? And that's if Mariners can sign him to that extension. Hopefully they will. And now we're back from the break. Logan
Gilbert was a Super 2, so he started his arbitration early. But most of these guys aren't going to be free agents for another 3 years, and you would probably assume towards the end of that 3-year window, maybe one or two of those guys are going to end up being traded. But right now, 2024, 2025, and 2026 is going to be your best shot at winning World Series.
And Josh Rojas is now down to 0-2. You are correct, yeah.
This is it. And so you have to prioritize it. And it's not just going all in, and the notion that you're going to sell your farm to go all in for one season, it's ridiculous. because if you know how the Jerry Dipoto operates, he's not going to trade for a rental guy. So the idea of trading 4 top prospects for Pete Alonso, that's not going to happen because they can't re-sign Pete Alonso. But if you're telling me to get a guy like Luis Robert, or maybe even a guy like Tanner Scott for your bullpen, maybe even Dalton Varsho, somebody like that, 100%.
Mason Miller, maybe, if Oakland's willing to trade within division.
Yeah, Brett Rooker is another opportunity. Yeah, I mean, I would think that the A's would want to deal because the Mariners can offer him value in terms of very good prospects that the A's would easily take.
The 1-2, and that's going to be up high for a ball, 2-2.
If you ask the A's today for if you were able to trade Ty France and Cole Young, and maybe one other mid-level prospect for Brent Rooker, I probably would assume you do that.
I mean, at this point, we're gonna have to it's not like Cole Young is the only Cole Young, but we don't know that right now because he's still in the minors and he's not exact. I think I checked his numbers. He's not exactly hitting the lights out either.
But he's also a highly, he's a top 100 prospect.
And now here's a fly ball to deep right center field, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Josh Rojas is going to go to second base for a double.
Nice. And he got that bat head out quick, and he was able to take that fastball and put it into the gap. And now all of a sudden, the Mariners got a runner in scoring position with nobody out.
Cole Young is now at 7 home runs. He's batting .278 with a .365. His strikeout to walks are about on par. So it's not like, with those numbers, I would not. With those numbers, I still wouldn't call him up right now.
No. But he's having a good year in his development, and he's got Cole Young along with Colt Emerson has value on the open market. And if you're talking like maybe Cole Young, Jonathan Clase, and Ty France for Brent Rooker,
I'd do it.
Even
though Rooker is going into his 30s, though.
Yeah, but you would probably assume that you're gonna get him for 2 years, which is gonna be the rest of his high hitting prime. Yeah, you're gonna get him for the rest of his prime before he gets to free agency. It's worth it. To get a guy like Mason Miller, that would be awesome. To get a guy like Mason Miller. He
fixed so much of our problems.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the 1-1. And now here is the pitch. And that is a foul ball. And Julio, it's like, I almost question if he had to swing that one.
There's a lot of good bullpens out there. Michael Kopech of the White Sox, who I like quite a bit. We saw him in that series with the White Sox. And, of course, Tanner Scott of the Marlins. All 3 of those dudes fixed the bullpen issues.
And I talked to an Arizona friend. I asked him about Paul Sewald, and he was like, hell no, that ain't going to happen. Well, because they are still in contention with the wild card.
Sure. And I would think that in order to get Sewald back,
they'll ask for a ransom.
You might, you're not going to get him. You're not going to get him back for what they gave up to get him last year. But that being said, I would think that he might still. Of course, we're still a full month away from the deadline, and a lot can change between now and then.
And now here's a line drive caught by Ramirez. Tried to have a play at second base, but did not happen. And that's one out. I like the swing by Julio. It looked good. I think that would have maybe scored in Rojas, but it just happened to get in the glove of Ramirez.
Right now, Arizona sits at 36-38. They're only a half game back in the wild card. The National League wild card seems to be a little bit of a joke outside of the Braves.
I'm going to take a look at the strength of schedule. That would be another good indicator.
Sure. But that being said, you have to weigh your feasibility versus what you're going to have to pay him coming up. And I would probably think that if the Mariners wanted Sewald back, they'd go out and get him. And it makes perfect sense because they know exactly what they're getting. And that might be worth it.
We're looking at Cal Raleigh. He is down with an 0-1 count. MLB
but if you get Sewald back, you got to let him actually, close out games in the postseason. You can't take him out for Robbie Ray.
You can't. Not again. And now here is going to be the 0-1 pitch. and that is low for a ball. That's going to be a 1-1. Arizona has the third toughest schedule in the National League. So like you said, things can change.
In a hurry.
And maybe the trade will be entertained. And we're looking at the 1-1 for Cal Raleigh.
It would be interesting considering that Eugenio Suarez is having a pretty crappy year.
He's a disaster.
He's been a disaster. And
like Josh Rojas, the Josh Rojas and even maybe Luis Urias is actually kind of outplaying Suarez.
But let's say that you can get Suarez back and it would only cost you either A, Dom Canzone, or B, Ty France.
I'm down.
You would be down for bringing him back?
Definitely Canzone. But then you have to, and then I'll put Rojas back at second base, but then we're going to do it with Polanco. So there's a lot of shuffling that's going to happen.
Well, what you would do when Polanco comes back, he would be your starting second baseman, and then Rojas is coming off your bench for second and third. He would be coming off your bench. And you can play a little outfield as well, too.
And actually, that would work better for him because he has already proven that he's not exactly 100% everyday guy.
And it also means that Ty Locklear is going to be your everyday first baseman, as he should be. If it's for something like that, I would consider it. But I don't think that Eugenio Suarez raises the ground floor of this team.
He won't. He may, maybe 2022 may have been his prime. In 23, they may have saw the red flags.
Yeah, that's why. That's why I was
swing and a miss, strike three.
Why do you think I'm not worried about this whole talk of Teoscar Hernandez? It's like the Mariners made a calculated. They traded a fan favorite. They made a calculated trade, and it turned out to be the right one.
If only we just got the better return out of Sebi Savala.
Well, that was going to happen anyway. Zebi was kind of the throw-in. It was Carlos Vargas and the other guy.
And Vargas has not looked too promising, unfortunately.
I thought Vargas got hurt.
That is, I don't see in the reports. And now there's Ty France. He's taking it for a ball.
I know Jackson Coher had the what's it called?
Tommy John.
Had the Tommy John. So he'll be back next year. But I guess the one that, if you're asking me, the one that I would like back might have been Jared Kelenic, but even then, I'm not buying the Jared Kelenic Kool-Aid in Atlanta this year. Like, he's had like a good 5-game stretch over the last 6, but overall he's been very Jared Kelenic like.
We're looking at a 2-0 for Ty France. And now here is the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike one. And he really didn't have to swing at that one. And that's the thing about Ty France. He is quite a chasing guy. And Vargas is at a 2.66 ERA in Tacoma. So maybe there's a reason. Maybe we should give him a shot. 2-1. And did he go? He did not. That's going to be a 3-1. And just to think, that could have been ball 4 for Ty France if he didn't swing at the other one. Jared Kelenic was only 1 for 5 today. 6 home runs, batting 267, 18 RBIs. If he was in Seattle, that'd probably be like 240 and maybe around the same home run amounts. And we're looking at the 3-1 for Ty France, the pitch. And that is ball 4. Take your base. And Mariners on at first and second. And now we got Luke Raley up to the bat. And maybe he can do damage. And now we got the pitching coach coming out to have a little chatter with the BB gun. And he'll probably just tell him, hey, it's the Mariners. You got this. They suck on offense. Relax.
Listen, this is the worst. This is one of the worst offensive teams in the league. You don't need to overthink this.
No. I mean, it would have taken the 2010 Mariners, and as bad as Mariners offense is, it would have taken the 2010 Mariners to make this team not work at all. And that 2010 team was historically bad. I think it was possibly the worst offense in history of the Mariners.
Well, it's not just that. Statistically, it was one of the worst offenses in the modern era of Major League Baseball. So, but here's the question, though. 2024 pitching staff with the 2010 offense. Are we in first place?
We're probably around the same record as the Rangers and the Astros.
So kind of struggling to get to 500.
Struggling to get to that next level.
Yeah.
And now we are looking at Tanner Beebe pitching to
20.
Luke Ray.
How about
Now
this one?
pitch. No, I got a better one. 2024 starting rotation with like the 1997-98 offense.
World
That
Series.
would be the most terrifying team in Major League
World
history.
Series.
Without
It would
even
be, I was gonna say the 2016 offense with the 2024 pitching staff.
World Series.
World Series. Definitely a division win. World Series.
The
How about
pitch.
this one?
And a line drive foul. Okay, let's go.
All right. The 2001 offense with the 2024 pitching staff. Does that get past the 2001 New York Yankees?
No.
With the 9/11, with all that.
No. Because the offense still wouldn't have gotten through that big three of Roger Clemens, Mike Mussina, Andy Pettitte. You still don't get through that. The pitching, and I don't even know if the bullpen would have held up on game 4, the pitch. And that is a strike.
Because here's the weird thing. I'm taking the 2001 bullpen 10 times out of 10 over this one. I'm taking our current rotation over the 2001 rotation. Right. And then it's like I'm taking that offense. But that being said, who's your GM? Who's your GM?
Pat Gillick.
Or Jerry DiPoto? Because DiPoto with our current ownership is going to make deals.
Swing and a miss, strike 3 with 2 men on. The Mariners still fail to score, and this is the Mariners that we know and love and hate. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 3-0.
Yep. Runners in scoring position with nobody out. I mean, Rojas was there, sitting at second base with nobody out, and they can't even muster out a base hit.
I gotta show you a funny highlight of.
All right, hit me.
Softball. Let's see if I have it. This one. Sadly, my cameraman accidentally hit the end button. But here's an idea what the play looked like. I got the out, I swear. If you don't believe me, well, that's your problem. I bobbled it.
I'm telling you, man, winning Gold Gloves as a pitcher is not in your future. That was an easy, by the way, that was an easy fielding ground ball that you made it more difficult. You made it more difficult on yourself to get the ball to first. Now you swear up and down that you got the out. I'll give you that, but you made it harder than it needed to be. Like my whole thing is both hands and keep your eyes on the ball. And it looked like you didn't keep your eye on the ball, and it looked like you only tried to use one hand. You were trying to showboat a little bit there.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg on my struggling defense at the start of the season. There's going to be at least 3 clips worth of bad defense from yesterday coming up soon. I haven't worked on it yet, but when I started working on it, I'm like, this is painful. But hey, it's good because I get accountability from my own fans, and they get to make fun of me, and that will motivate me to play better.
Hey, so on today's show, we started the series of the 2024 Mariners and how they start. 2024 Mariners lineup and rotation and bullpen stacked up to the 2001 team. Considering this looked like this might be a division-winning team, so hopefully. I wanted to compare who cracks from our current starting lineup. Who cracks that 2001 team? And today we started with the rotation and bullpen.
As we got a pop fly going into center field, Julio's there and he makes the catch.
And the only member of this year's rotation who didn't make that rotation was Logan Gilbert, and it killed me. But Castillo beats Garcia. Kirby beats Seeley. Jamie Moyer, obviously, nobody touches Moyer for consistency.
The pitch to
Miller beats Abbott, and Wu beats Halama Pinheiro.
Wow. I would have put in Logan either over Bryce Miller or Brian Wu because Wu just doesn't have the longevity, the 1-0, and that is a strike.
But we're going rotation spot versus rotation spot, right? So 1 through 5. But yeah, no, you can easily make the case that you can sub Garcia out for Wu. If you wanted to do that, it makes sense because Freddie Garcia had a great year that year.
He
You know what I
did.
mean? But 1-versus-1 Castillo obviously beats him. My bullpen, Sasaki beats Munoz, Rhodes beats Thornton, Nelly beats both. But I have Spire over Charlton, Stanek over Paniagua, and Saucedo over Franklin.
And we got a foul ball. That's going to be a 1-2 still for Daniel Schneemann. Still one out, and we got some activity in the bullpen. They've got Mike Baumann, the right-handed pitcher of the Mariners. He was one time at one point with the Cincinnati Reds, and he did get some love from Cincinnati and the entire Major League community due to Tom Brenneman forgetting to hit the mute button during commercial break.
He I think he came over from the Orioles this year. He was started the season in the Oriole bullpen.
Yes, that sounds. He gave up the home run to Dom Canzone the year before.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the 1-2, and now here is the pitch. And now here is a fly ball, and Julio is there. He makes the catch, and that's going to be 2 down.
Yeah, but what's going to be interesting though is the lineups, and that's going to be some interesting conversations. Are you taking Julio over Mike Cameron? Are you taking Raleigh over Wilson?
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Big
the first base tandem.
If it was 96 Wilson, I would have kept 96 Wilson.
But 2001 Wilson was not. He was
bad. Still pretty good. Still 10 homers. He still held up. And even 02 Wilson was even more unique because he had a 295 average, which was very unusual in his career.
The weird thing is, are you going to take the consistent hitting of Dan Wilson, or are you going to take the power of Raleigh? Because defensively, I think they're a wash.
They're the same, except maybe I'd still give Wilson the slight edge on the defense, though.
Oh yeah.
Wilson is very tough to beat on defense.
Wilson handled his pitching staff for well over a decade. And Cal Raleigh
had some of the worst bullpens to deal with.
Oh, for sure. And the crazy thing is, he always put his pitchers
ground
in the right
ball
spot.
over to Dylan Moore to throw to first in time. And we can all agree, other than giving up the 3 runs, Wu has actually been pitching pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, I like ever since the 2-run shot by Stephen Kwan, he's been decent. So,
he's really settled down. I mean, I think Julio fits somewhere in 2001 because left field had
for
tune
sure
of like Macklemore and like Javier and maybe Jay Buhner in the last month.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like obviously nobody in this outfield is going to beat Ichiro, and that's the thing. It's like if you're just going position by position, then the question is like, do you take Mike Cameron and his power and consistency over Julio Rodriguez, even though that Julio probably is the better talent? I mean, he's an MVP level player. The question is Mike Cameron was good from start to finish. He wasn't just a one-half player.
Cameron had. I'll still give the glove to Cameron over Julio. I mean, that's.
It's like, but it's the conversation is like defensively. Defensively, isn't that also kind of like Wilson Raleigh? It's like kind of like a wash defensively. Almost.
Now,
Julio's phenomenal defensively.
JP Crawford or Carlos Guillen? Who do you choose on that one? That's a tough one.
JP probably. I think he's a better defender. JP's the better defender of the two.
Carlos did have a lot of errors.
Yeah.
That's Brett Boone, no one's touching that. First base,
touching Boone.
Olerud's, no one's touching him.
Nobody's touching that.
David Bell or Josh Rojas?
Yeah, that's the thing. And I'm probably taking David Bell over Rojas.
Because he was a more everyday consistent.
He was, I just think he was the better offensive player and sneaky. He was a better defender too.
And the Mariners got rid of him to make room for Jeff Cirillo and had that.
Cirillo.
I actually met Jeff Cirillo, and I innocently asked him the question like, I shouldn't have said it, but I was like, hey, I remember the good days in Seattle, good times. And he gave me that face of death.
Not only is Josh Rojas doesn't beat Carlos Guillen at third base or David Bell at third base, but he's not even on the bench because are you going to prefer Mark McLemore, who can play all 9 positions on the field and play him at a very good defensive capability, or are you taking Josh Rojas? And I'm probably taking McLemore.
As Mitch Haniger is taking it strike 2, and also obviously Dylan Moore versus Mark McLemore. You're picking Mark McLemore 10 times out of 10.
Yeah. Here's one. Mr. Sticky says, can you make a division-winning Mariners team with a lineup where every
0-2
hitter
pitch.
is under the Mendoza line?
High ball.
Ooh. The under Mendoza starting 9 for a division-winning team, so you have to pitch the lights out. But offensively, you're probably not going to average 4 runs a game.
And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and it's one of those games, isn't it, where I mean, BB is actually not a bad pitcher. Don't get me wrong, but 10 strikeouts.
Yeah, you know, Tanner Bibby or Bibby, 4-2 this year, 3.94 ERA, 14 starts, 75 1/3, and he's not bad. Like he's one of their top guys. He's good.
Really is. We're looking at the
There you
1-0 for Dom Cam Zone and see if he could get this going because Mariners really have to.
So
we're looking
under
at the
my
1-0. And now here's the line drive, and that's going to be in for a base hit. And Dom Cam Zone is going to get in there for a double to throw to second base, and not in time. He gets in there standing.
Nice eye right there. Good through the zone. Takes a slider and just ropes one for a double. And so here we go again, man. Runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs, and it's right now. It's up to Dylan. Yeah, man. This is a situation where you have to capitalize. You have no choice. You have to start chipping away at this 3-run lead because we're already in the 5th.
And now we're looking at Dylan Moore, and the throw to second base, and looks like it's not in time.
Yeah, he's back.
Barely. He's got to pay attention.
It looked like his hand was in there before the tag. But yeah,
he had a really substantial lead.
So can I make a division-winning Mariners team with a lineup where every hitter is under the Mendoza line? Who is on my team? I think I would probably have to start with Sean Figgins.
Oy. Rob Johnson is your catcher. The pitch. And that is going to be low for a ball. And Johnson was not only terrible in bats, he was terrible in his glove.
My first baseman is probably going to have to be Justin Smoke.
Justin Smoke wasn't all bad.
He wasn't all good either. Either
1-0.
that or Evan White.
The ground ball and the throw to first. And that is in time, but I think Canzone gets his free pass to third base. I hope he did. Nope, it looks like he didn't get to there, which is why the fans are still clapping. So now we got 2 outs still.
Yep.
Canzone is still stuck at second base. Let's see if JP can hit a home run, which he has been hitting some home runs lately.
My second baseman is probably Colton Wong.
Colton Wong, isn't that great?
Who would be my shortstop? My under Mendoza.
Jack Wilson or Brendan Ryan?
Ooh, I'm going to take defense, so I'm going to have to go with Jack Wilson.
Brendan Ryan had the better defense.
They were really good defensively. Both were very good defenders. Yeah, okay. Brendan, regardless, it's the same.
Brendan Ryan has the edge.
Yeah, sure. Third baseman is Choney Figgins. I also want to put Dustin Ackley on the bench.
Now I want to do the Alba Vasey team. That would be really fun to do in this commercial break.
Would be. Yeah, we should do the Alba Vasey
an Alba Vasey team with the 2024 pitching staff.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, that's the thing. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy!
This better be good.
Oh boy!
And now we're looking at the 0-2 for JP Crawford, and here is going to be the pitch. And that is strike 3 called, and that was up his head. And now JP Crawford's having some words, and now he's been tossed out of the game.
Yep.
And JP Crawford's just really letting him have it. And where is Scott Service? There he finally is. And now Scott Service is going to give him a mouthful.
Yeah, and Service got tossed too.
And I wonder if he is going to get tossed. And now the frustration just adds up. And now he's been tossed as well.
Yep. And that was, that's the thing is JP's got a very good point. I don't know how, like he's been, home plate umpires had a very interesting strike zone. Calling strikes. Season. Yeah, for sure. But specifically tonight, it's been kind of a bad strike zone. These are the type of games where you kind of want the ABS system. You know what I mean? But he had every right to he had every right to challenge that and get up into that umpire's face. And I'm glad that Scott Service came out and protected his player. He gets tossed, and so now Maniac is now the manager for the rest of the game tonight. But you like to
be Pete Woodworth.
It could be. I think
it's Pete Woodworth.
Yeah, but I like that. That's the thing. It's like the Mariners have been nice when it has been coming to the strike zone this year. They've kind of taken it in stride. And it's nice to see somebody boil over. I've been waiting for that this year. And
it did happen with Cal Raleigh last time and then Scott Service was like, no, Cal Raleigh, get out of here. I'll take care of it. I need your bat.
For sure.
Which I actually gave Scott Service the MVP of that game because he is taught if Cal Raleigh gets tossed, he doesn't hit that grand slam doesn't happen.
Right. So now,
yeah.
Let me ask you, if we're doing the all Bavasi team, okay, my question to you is, are we doing the best of Bavasi?
The best. You got to do the best.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think my first pick for the all Bavasi team is easily Adrian Beltre.
Well, let's do it positionally. So first base, okay. I'm picking obviously Richie Sexson. Like, who else are you going to pick, right?
Well, let's let me check the so yeah. I was going to say
and that's a half swing, that's a miss. And Bauman, by the way, has been into this game.
I was going to say I was going to say maybe Russell Branyan, but Muscle Mannion came in the Zarenzik era. So
Zarenzik,
yeah, Richie Sexson. I would go with Richie too.
Let's do this in the next commercial break as we're looking at a strike two from Bauman. And Bauman, I commended everything that the Reds did to get rid of Tom Brenneman. Oh, Tom, why couldn't you just hit that mute button? You just couldn't do it because you forgot. Shouldn't have said that. I'm not saying, hit the mute button if you feel things. And that goes on anything, whatever you believe. Just hit the mute freaking button. Sure.
Well, with radio, they got the dump button for a reason. They can dump out of it.
And and what was the scary part was Tom Brenneman was like calling a home run in a very like he's done kind of way. And he's like, hey, I'm very sorry. Right. And now here is the next guy to take over. I thought that was like kind of scary where he's like, yep, I'm done. And this guy will take over. It's like everyone's like, Tom, you're out. Okay, you're in. And by the way, Bauman just got a strikeout.
Yep, he sure did. And I like Bauman. I've been the guy that that really liked his stuff.
Even though he gave up those home runs as a closer?
Sure. Yeah, listen.
But that shouldn't have been his goal anyway. That was the thing.
Correct. That's the thing. It's like, every once in a while you'll ask him to pitch a high leverage inning just because of availability. And, he's going to have really good outings. And, of course, he's going to have outings that aren't really all that great. But in this middle relief role where you're asking him to chew a couple innings, he fits that role perfectly.
And we're looking at a 1-2 already, and Bauman seems to be pitching as the man that we hope that he would be for now, at least.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting through this inning quite quickly. He'll probably be. And
now here's a ground ball right to Ryan Bliss, greatly fielded, and that's going to be 2 outs.
Yeah, I like his fastball, and I like his movement on his off-speed pitches as well too. He just throws strikes, man.
I got my team ready to go for all the positions for the Bavasi era offense.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting there too.
And that is going to be a ball for Andres Jimenez. You know this game is bad when we're talking about nostalgic things now and like, can the Mariners do things like this?
That's funny. No, you're right.
1-0. And that is a ball. And it's not like Mariners are just being, I mean, they're very much in this game. It's just their offense is just gone.
For sure, man.
The 2-0. And that is a ball. And that was right in the strike zone. And now that's going to be a 3-0 count. And now the 3-0. And it looked like a bunt attempt. And that is a strike. He was like, why not? I'm ahead of the pitch count. Who cares? And now the pitch. And that is going to be ball 4, take your base. And Bauman suffers a walk.
Yeah, no, I got my 9. I haven't really thought about the I really haven't thought about the pitching staff if we're not doing it, or we're taking this year's pitching staff and putting it to the all Bavasi, right? Okay.
Yep, all Bavasi. Okay. And now the throw to first, and that is not in time.
It's interesting though. That's funny. I'm kind of looking at it, and I forgot that we had Vladimir Valentin, Jeff Clement. Yeah, Brian LaHair.
I don't even remember that. And we got a strike on Jose Ramirez, right?
Brian LaHair. What's up?
Actually, Ramirez is on a 1-0 count so far.
Yeah. Looks like there was.
And with a Brian Wu game, it's going to sting if the Mariners lose this because Brian Wu has been. And here's a throw to second base, and that is, I think that is in time. Or not.
Safe.
No, he's safe. It looked really good though.
Yeah, from that, from certain angles, it looks like they got him, but it looked like his hand was there first before the tag came in. So Gimenez, what was it? Andreas Gimenez right there. Yeah. Yep,
he's safe.
So, yep. So now it's you don't worry about the runner. You just attack home plate, get the out at the plate right here, and
the 2-0. And that is a foul ball, especially when it's against Ramirez. You got to go after him.
Yeah. And this is where righties with the split come in handy because you can throw that thing low and away and induce a swing and miss. So it's going to be interesting to see what Bauman
2-1
is right here.
And it's foul. Now he's down to a 2-2 already now. Well, not already, but 2-2 after being fallen with a 2-0.
Jeff Cirillo
was not in the Bavasi era.
How about Rich Aurelia?
Rich Aurelia they did that to replace Carlos Guillen.
Do you remember when the Mariners brought in Pokey Reese? And,
Pokey,
yeah,
and then he injured him. And he injured himself on that commercial shoot in 2005. The pitch.
Dude, and Mariner fans were sprung for Pokey Reese and
because of the 2004 name.
Oh boy.
And Jose Ramirez is looking at a 3-2 full count. And now here is the 3-2. And now here is a ground ball. And here's Brian Bliss, a throw to first. And that is obviously not in time. And now the throw to plate. And that is also not in time. And now it's going to be a 4-0 game for the Cleveland Guardians. Jimenez never stopped.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is this kind of was on Ty France, because when Bliss made the play up the middle, and France was in his motion to get the ball, he kind of looked back at the first base umpire to see it and wasn't paying attention to Gimenez as he was rounding third. If that was just one fluid motion where he kind of
throw to second, not in time,
where you
As
understand that the runner at first is going to be safe, you automatically just turn and fire home because they actually could have had Gimenez.
it's 4-0 game.
That was a bad play.
And this is where you feel that I know people are gonna say, well, it's just one bad game, but this is a good sample size on why the Mariners are not exactly ready for a World Series unless they make very critical moves.
I think that these type of games highlight the fact that they're nowhere near a World Series.
Not even close. But you have fans out there that are going excited because, we have a 10-game lead on Houston and the Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you have to give the Mariners credit. I mean, they swept the Rangers at home this last homestand, and they've been taking advantage of the schedule that they've had in front of them. I mean, that's what playoff teams do. And in spurts, this team can score runs. I mean, again, we saw in the last homestand where
1-0.
Well, not against the White Sox, but against the Rangers, they definitely did that. But the thing about it is when you're playing a team like a good example was the last 2 innings for the Mariners, when you get runners in scoring position, less than 1 out, or, you got 2 runners in scoring position with less than 2 outs, and they can't capitalize on it. They get leadoff doubles in both innings and they can't score. Like, this probably should be a 4-2 game right now.
Really should. And we're looking at a 3-0 for Josh Naylor. And this game feels like it's going forever, too. Usually games, it would have been 7th inning by now if it was going at a better pace.
Oh, boy.
And it looks like...
So that was also a name that was linked to the Mariners this last offseason, getting a guy like Josh Naylor from the Indians. And, of course, the Mariners didn't want to part with any of their starting pitching. They
3-0.
The uncomfortable.
And now here's a fly ball to deep right field, and that is gone. And now it's a 6-0 game as the Guardians are just completely just getting away with it. 6-0. And now this game is pretty much out of reach. I don't even know what to say on that one.
Josh Naylor got it all.
He really did. Like, it was just frozen. Like, even he froze himself. And just as we were saying that Bauman was pitching very well, and you saw Bauman going, he dropped the F-bomb.
Yeah, for sure.
And now here's the pitch, and that is a foul ball.
And this was eerily similar to the inning when Wu gave up the 2-run shot to Kwan, where he got the first 2 outs of the inning rather easy and couldn't close it out.
And a check swing, did he go? He did not. I mean, this is where you may want to bring in like the Tyler Locklears out there.
Oh,
and it seems like I almost feel like Ty France coming back may have disrupted things. The pitch. And that is a ball. We're looking at a 2-1 count for David Fry. And the 2-1 is what we're looking at. And here is the pitch. And now here's a fly ball to right field. And Ty France or Ryan Bliss, he is there. He makes the catch. And that's going to retire the side. And boy, what a disastrous inning for the Mariners. It is. They've gave up 3 runs. And now it is 6-0. And now let's get ready to reveal our starting lineups or by position for the the Bill Bavasi era Mariners on this 2024 rotation. On first base, I put in Richie Sexson.
Yeah, and I would have to agree with you. In the Bavasi era, really, when Bavasi took over, Olerud was still there, but that was basically the end of, Olerud was well past his prime, and he got DFA'd towards the end of that season. Richie Sexson came in that offseason on a 4-year deal, and he was pretty much there the entire Bavasi era. There was no other first baseman, so I also have Richie at first base.
Second baseman, I was really close to putting in Jose Lopez, but I still put in Brett Boone because he still had that one good season in 04 and 05. I don't really think it was really his fault. It was just unfortunate what happened in 05. But even 05 Brett Boone, I'll still take him.
No, you know what? I actually went Jose Lopez because, yeah, you're right. I mean, Boone had his last productive year, and I believe Bavasi's first. But it wasn't 2001 or 2002 Brett Boone.
Not even close.
But it was still productive. But Jose Lopez was an all-star in the Bavasi era, and even though his quad slash went down considerably from his all-star year, he still was fairly decent for a second baseman. My only knock on Lopez was the fact that he didn't work on his game. He was just happy to be a Major League Baseball player, and was satisfied.
He ballooned, but kind of
for the most part, he was the only second baseman really of substance in the Bavasi area. So I'm going with Jose Lopez.
Fair. Now we're back from the break, and now here is Josh Rojas, and now here is the pitch, and that is outside for a ball. And we'll just do it very briefly. Shortstop, sure. I picked Yunieski Betancourt, then Adrian Beltre. Left field, I actually picked Randy Wynn. Center field, Ichiro. Right field, Ibanez. And catcher, Kenji Jojima. The pitch. And that is going to be a ball. Ball 2.
Yeah, third baseman, I have Adrian Beltre as well.
Shortstop.
Third baseman. Shortstop, Yunieski Betancourt. Left field, I actually took Raul Ibanez over Randy Wynn. I thought Ibanez fairly was the better hitter of the two. My center fielder is Adam Jones.
Adam Jones.
Yeah. Adam Jones could have been
2-1.
Could have
check
been
swing and foul.
He could have been a cornerstone for the Zarenzik era had he not left Seattle. Obviously, Ichiro in right field, and then I have Kenji behind the plate.
Very good. We're about almost on par, with the exception of Adam Jones and Jose Lopez. And now we're looking at the 2-2 for Josh Rojas, and that is a foul ball, 2-2.
Well, it was kind of easy because, considering, I'll give Bavasi credit. The guys that were there, for the most part, were there for the entire, 4 or 5 year tenure of, with the exception of a few players, but most of the guys were around for more than 2 seasons.
And now here's the 2-2. And now here's a ground ball right to second base, and he bobbles it to throw to first, and it's still in time.
It was the Zarenzik era that had so many moving parts. Those Zarenzik era, those is, outside of Boomsick and Robbie Cano and Kyle Sear at third base, it was interchangeable.
Kyle Seager was another guy we miss. And now here is Julio Rodriguez, and let's see if he could even get anything going. And now here's the pitch. And now that's a fly ball foul.
Who's your Zarenzik era center fielder?
Oh, man. It's not like we really had one. It was pretty much Michael Saunders.
I went with Franklin Gutierrez.
That, too. I forgot about him. But yes. And now here's a ground ball foul.
Yeah, it's funny because, Ichiro was at the tail end of his Mariners career in the first part of the Zarenzik era. And that's the thing. It's like right field, left field, third, shortstop, first base, catcher.
And we're looking at the 0-2 for Julio Rodriguez. And now here's the pitch. Outside for a ball, 1-2.
Yeah, it's like, Zarenzik era first baseman. Do you have Justin Spoke or Mike Carp?
And now we're looking at the 1-2, and now here it is. And that is inside. That nearly got him. And that's going to be a 2-2 for Julio Rodriguez. And now he's awaiting, and here's a 2-2. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to be 2 down.
Yeah. Julio got the fastball there, but he swung right through it. So
he really did, and this just really seems to it's just not their game for the Mariners. Yeah. It's just not there.
Did you notice this week. I don't know if you noticed it though, but there was a lot of love for Julio on Mariners social media. I saw a lot of posts that Julio was back after the week that he had and this last week, and I noticed like mid Texas series that I heard a lot of Julio is back. Julio has started to turn the corner, and I'm looking at his weekly numbers, and I was like, his numbers are very similar to Luke Raley and
now here's a
Taylor
fly
Locklear.
ball to right field, and that is going to be caught, and that is going to retire the side once again, and the Mariners are suffering another 1-2-3. They only have 3 hits throughout this entire game, and we go to the bottom of the inning.
I would think that in a game like this, now it all depends on how he wants to play it, but this is the game where you kind of empty your bench. You give some of these regulars some time off, and like you're down 6. It's not like you're trying to not trying to lose this game, but in a game like this where
Let's get Tyler Locklear some bats.
Yeah, you want to set the table for tomorrow. Yeah, you empty your bench, and if that means Garver catches the rest of the game, then so be it. Or maybe you bring in Locklear. But I don't know. Like, to me, this is down 6 and only 3 hits. The likelihood of the Mariners coming back to even tying the game, let alone taking the lead, seems slim to none. So I don't know. In this situation, I would probably empty the bench and give some guys some ABs.
Unfortunately, I will agree with you because this game has just been an absolute disaster. And we haven't seen a game like this in a while.
Yeah, for sure. The first couple of games of the Chicago series where they literally could do nothing offensively, they still won those games, but being able to be within shouting distance of the lead, this game it's not. Yeah, I would think that. In this, what is this, Cody Bolton? Yeah, so.
Yeah, they're pretty much mopping up this game.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the only notable shorts I'm really going to put out is the ejection. That's pretty much it. That's the only thing that sticks out is the ejection. I'm not going to put in. I've tried that where I put like home runs from the other team. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to spend the energy on that.
And these are the type of games where you see the back end, not the back end of your bullpen, but the front end of your bullpen, long relievers, guys like Bolton, Bauman, guys like that. But it really was a shame because you get a guy like Bibby, who throws a fastball predominantly. He's going to be a fastball slider guy, and the fact that they just weren't able to handle his heater. He wasn't.
Now here's a ground ball right to Bolton, tossed the first in time.
Yeah, couldn't handle the heat, couldn't handle the slider, and of course, death of 1,000 paper cuts came back to hunt today.
It really did. And now for Thursday, the afternoon game. Oh my God, it's going to be Allen. Granted, he has a 5.30 ERA, but that may not even matter. Logan Allen against Luis Castillo. I am not looking forward to that. And now here's the pitch, and that's going to be low for a ball.
Yeah, well, so Ty France comes back. They finally DFA Zebby Savala, but right now,
the pitch. That is another ball, 2-0.
This is a situation where you're kind of overusing Cal Raleigh in the field. You really don't have a true backup catcher. Right now, the Mariner bench is not as deep as you would like it.
I'm thinking because the Giants are so bad, why not? I know he has a salary or something. Let's take a look at Tom Murphy's contract because that's who I'm looking at. Because Giants are terrible right now. And now the pitch, and that's going to be a strike, 3-1. He hasn't played since May, so I think he's possibly injured. He just resumed baseball activities. The 3-1, and that's going to be a 3-2.
He signed a 2-year contract for 8.25. That includes an option for 2026. He'll earn $4 million this year.
Is it a player or a
$4 million
team?
next year. Say it again.
Is it a player option or a team option?
I would probably assume team.
If it's team option, then that would be a friendly contract for the Mariners to take on.
Well, your backup catcher's making $4 million per season.
Yes, but I would take that over Mitch Garver as backup catcher because he also has glass knees to be a catcher.
My issue with Tom Murphy isn't that I don't like him, because I do. I think Murphy in that role was phenomenal in Seattle, but he got hurt a lot.
Injured prone. That's why they got rid of him. They didn't want to pay $4 million for an injury.
That's exactly right. And in this case, I do believe I think he's hurt right now.
0-1. And now here's a pop-up to Ryan Bliss, and he makes the catch.
You can find solid backups. You can find solid backups anywhere.
Well, too bad we got rid of Blake Hunt.
And that also was questionable as well too, because you're
just
in
like getting rid of Tyson Miller for basically no reason.
Yeah, for sure. That would have been nice to have. Yeah, I mean, they've made a few questionable decisions this year.
And here is Bo Naylor, the pitch. And now, it pops off the glove, and the runner was going to second base, and now he gets a free stolen base because of that.
Yep. And now the Tribe have a runner in scoring position, and
I admire your willingness to say the words.
What's gonna happen? I'm gonna get canceled.
Listen, I will, because I'm the one that allowed it.
Well, I do not think you're going to get canceled. And I do not think your fan base is going to leave, because I have a propensity to call the Cleveland Guardians the Cleveland Indians.
Yeah, and good thing other YouTubers don't really watch me or care about me enough either. Except the Trident, he'll watch. He watches me when he's driving home from work to pitch, and that is going to be a 2-1 count for Bo Naylor.
Yeah, that's why I like Jay's Trident, because he kind of watches everything.
He watches everything. He's very engaged with everyone. William Cook cares.
Yeah, I care.
The 2-1. Now here's a ground ball, and that's going to get right through for a base hit, and that's probably going to score in the run. It is going to be 7-0 Cleveland.
I watch everything too, and there's some guys that I like, and there's others that I don't. So, and it's not because their content sucks. It's because maybe it's a character issue, or some guys are more charismatic than others.
Okay, I'll give you names. Couch GM.
I'd have to see it again.
Marine Layer Podcast.
So, and that's Marine Layers 2, right?
The two dudes. Guys. It's Lyle Goldstein and TJ Mathewson. They have passion.
Okay. Yeah, they're okay.
They have passion, and they're very consistent with their podcasting.
Sometimes they tend to talk about the same things week after week, but yeah, they're okay. I like.
We're looking at the 0-1 for Quan, and that is low for a ball. Jay Trident, obviously, we love him.
Yep. Yeah, he's good.
He's got a thing going. The beard does it for him.
The what's it called? The Locked On guys. I like the Ty Ding Gonzalez guy. I think he's very good. And
now here is a line drive, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. But, and you just wonder, like, at the way this game is going, like, Tyler Locklear should be up there getting some playing time, and I think they've already unloaded at least others because J.P. Crawford got thrown out, but, like, basically pull out everything. I guess they don't want to right now because they don't want to, quote, risk injury early in this game-ish, but even then, it's like, at least get Tyler Locklear the bat. Yeah, for sure. William Cook, no, sir, you are the man. But I do appreciate it nonetheless. That's the thing. It's like, and oh, by the way, next week, Brian Abker, the captain, will be joining me now for the rest of the 2024 season on the podcast, as Swanee has to take an extended period off. So, Brian Abker is going to step in to the second chair on the show, and we're going to keep on rocking it every single week. That name may help. Now here's the pitch. But you got to get a logo. You got to make a logo for your channel. I'm nagging, man. Nah, you're just gonna keep it as the S that has no colors of the Mariners.
Well, no, our logo is the 6-shot logo of the Mariners.
I know.
Maybe.
But your actual YouTube logo is what it needs because it just has a pink S.
Oh yeah, for sure. I got to do that.
And you gotta and change your name to like Swinging for the Fences on your YouTube channel too, or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know how to do either of those, but we'll figure it out.
You will.
Yeah, but you know what though, the thing though is that yeah, man. The thing I like about Mariners YouTube, is that there's just a lot of good YouTubers out there. You don't necessarily have to be a fan of just one. If you're a Mariners fan, you should watch them all. You should watch them all.
Now here's the 2-1-2. Okay, how about this one? Mariners Mojo, the most popular one, the elites.
I think they're that's the thing is I've only listened to Mariner Mojo a few times, and they're okay. I don't know those guys personally, so I will say
swing and a miss, strike 3, and that will retire this side. We go to the top of the 7th.
Is Mariner Mojo, is that tied to the Soto Mojo?
No,
blog?
Soto Mojo they're different. It's a couple dudes named Colton and Joe, and we have 3 Joes in our Mariner community.
I know that the guys at Soto Mojo, as far as Mariner blogs go, I don't really read a lot of them. I don't read Lookout Landing because that's just not my flavor, man. For years they've weaved in their own personal politics into their baseball stuff. I don't read it. But the Soto Mojo guys, those cats who write the blogs are phenomenal. I do read that. And I used to read Prospect Insider, but I stopped doing that for a while. The other guy that I like is Luke Arkins, who does Mariners. He writes for, I think he does his own thing, Mariners Consigliere. He's pretty good. Mariner Mojo. Yeah, I think I've listened to him a few times while I'm at work. Yeah, they're okay.
My goal and one of my goals in my YouTube life is to bring all Mariners content creators all together for either a softball game, if there's enough of those guys, or at least a wiffle ball game. Like bring Trident, bring you, even bring the ones that weren't even on the same page with me. And even if they kind of cut me off, like I still want to bring everyone together.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Because internet talk and person-to-person talk are 2 completely different dynamics.
That's the thing. It's like, you and I have 2 different reasons for why we're doing this. Obviously, you're trying to grow a brand, and that's great. And in some contexts, I'm trying to do that too. I'm just trying to have fun and talk baseball because I enjoy the game of baseball, and I enjoy the Seattle Mariners. So that's the thing is I try to have fun as much as I possibly can. And if I get subscribers, fantastic. But that's the thing. It's like, I wish everybody well, and I hope everybody's channels grow. And yeah,
we all want it to. We want everyone to grow because that means it makes it possible for everyone to be in the community and give everyone options to express themselves.
Yeah, and I also think, having unique topics on top of the same old stuff, right? Because right now we're in trade season, so everybody is like, here are the top 5 guys we should trade for, the holes in the roster, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's talking about the same thing, and I also think it's imperative to have fun topics, how we're doing the Bavasi era lineup, the best
someday
year, like having full segments on
ground ball right to third. Here's Ramirez, throw the first in time, and again, that is where we wish that Tyler Locklear should have hit on that moment. Man, Tyler Locklear is just sitting on the bench, like, man, I should be playing right now.
Yeah, and that's why we started today where we're talking about how our current starters, could any of our current starters crack the 2001 roster? And it's fun, man. It's fun because you get to go back in time, but you also get to stack up the current team versus one of our team's greatest years. It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun. And the thing I really want to do is bring as many people as we can together. At least you and me and Trident for the trade deadline talk.
Yeah.
Now here's the 01.
That would be that would be phenomenal.
Except typically Mariners usually make trades just before the deadline.
Sure.
That's what I've noticed. But we still should do something.
I think the deadline is what, 3 p.m. Eastern?
Yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern. No, I think it's 6 p.m. Eastern. The pitch.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I was gonna say that would be that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, no, I would think that because I think that's going on what, July 31st,
July 30th.
30th. Okay. And I believe that's on a Tuesday, so I actually have good action to actually have that day off completely. So
that'd be great. Yeah, so we can just do a show. All we're gonna do is talk about trades, and we'll talk about history of trades too.
And it's not just about what the Mariners are also doing; it's also about their AL West rival.
Well, yeah, what are the Astros and Rangers going to do if they're still in contention? As we got a ball four from Luke Raley, gets on the base, and you know what? I'm going to say it.
Here it is.
The comeback begins, baby.
I would think that both Texas and Houston are going to do something. Like I can't,
even if they're 10 games below, they're still going to do something.
I can't see them being complete sellers.
No, that's insane. With the team they have a good team. They're just injured.
Yeah.
So they have no reason to.
Houston's going to get McCullers and Ucurdy back, and Texas is going to get some of their guys back. And once those teams
and Scherzer,
once they get those, once Texas gets their rotation full, once Houston gets their rotation full, I would probably assume you're going to see a different team in the second half. And that's why it's so imperative that the Mariners have to make a couple impact moves at the deadline, because they got a 10 game.
Houston has an easy schedule too, easier.
It's like
ground ball right to second base, the throw to first in time for the double play, and that is going to retire the side. But we get to do our favorite part of the day or the game.
Take more me out highlights.
That after take me out to the ball game.
Okay.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back, so let's root.
Root for the Mariners. If they don't win, it's a shame. They kind of already lost. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. And here is my first home run of the season from softball.
Woo! Go, Ron! Keep going, keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Woo! Yeah!
Kaboom!
Listen, here's the thing. Full credit for the inside the Parker there, but it looked like you got under it, and it just so happens that you hit it to a spot in the field where they didn't have a good outfielder there, and it drops in.
That's exactly what I did.
Yeah, I'll give you full credit for it, no doubt about it. It's a round tripper. But yeah, that's the thing is
strategy.
Christian's right. Bro is so try hard in softball.
I love it.
He is a try hard, isn't he?
But just wait until I get the bad defensive highlights out of me as a pitcher. It includes errors and oh crap, where's the ball?
But here's the thing. It's like, what would be complete with your softball getup is if you had one of those oven mitt sliding gloves sticking out of your back pocket at the plate, like J-Rod and Bryce Harper have. You know what I mean? Those sliding the sliding glove that they use.
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah.
They do, huh?
Oh yeah.
Oh sure, no, man. We got the Eduardo Barzado. That's when you know the game is over.
Oh yeah, and I think the last time we saw Barzado was that second game of the
Saturday
Texas
game
series.
against Texas.
Yeah, and he gave up 4.
Mariners got out the skin of their teeth.
I don't understand what the love affair is Eduardo
And
Bizarro.
here's
I
a
mean,
fly ball
Caputo,
right center field, and he makes the catch. And looks like Julio is gone for the day, and that's when you know the game is really over.
you know, that's the thing. It's like they love Eduardo Bizarro, and I don't understand it because his stuff. It's like I understand the fascination because he's got, you know, he throws his fastball with good velocity, but the command and control isn't there, and he really does struggle a lot. I don't like his makeup, but you know, it is what it is. But I like this. I like the fact that they're taking guys out of the ball game now, because this game is pretty much over, man. You don't need to play Julio the rest of the way.
William says he lost audio. I mean, I can hear myself. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that is a strike.
Yeah, there's no need to play Julio the rest of the game. I would actually sit Cal the rest of the game too. You know, give him the rest of the night off.
I would 100% do that.
Yeah, get Locklear in there at first.
Looks like my volume on my side is working, or at least on the streaming side is working. So I tested that. William Cook may want to make some adjustments. Oh, he got it back. Okay, good. And now we've got Josh Naylor. I think he blasted the home run, which he did. Now he has 18
Yeah, he
to
sure
pitch.
did.
And that is a ball. Imagine if the Mariners get someone like him.
Yeah, would have been nice to have Naylor in the 2024 lineup. But let me ask you a question real quick. Who do you have as the best first baseman in team history?
Tino Martinez.
Yeah, because you got three. You got Olerud, Tino, and you have AD.
Oh yeah, Alvin Davis. And they are all. You can put them. You put them in, and no one will really have an opposition as much.
Yeah, you know what's funny is, you know, AD was the original star before Junior, Rookie of the Year,
Mariner.
Phenomenal.
And now here's a fly ball to deep right field, and that is just drilled and out of there. Let's make that 8-0. The Guardians are just running away with it, and they're just laughing at us.
Second of the day for Naylor, and you know, Bizarro right there kept a slider high, and bad location. And you know, that's the thing. I just don't understand the fascination. Yeah, I don't understand the fascination with Bizarro. This is the second straight outing that he's gotten crushed. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, William Cook brings up my answer. As much as I love Tino, and I do love Tino, I thought he was great. But we got prime John Allroot, and prime Tino was with the Yankees.
Yeah, and Tino was also very clutch in the playoffs. Like he was someone that you wanted in the playoffs. And here is the pitch. And now here is a fly ball, actually a pop-up or a fly ball, and there is the catch by Luke Raley. He makes the catch.
And that's what bugged me so much about when they traded Tino, because he was coming into his walk year and he was getting, like, 1995 was the start of his prime. And
it was the one where he figured it out.
Yeah, and it's like imagine Tino at first through the remainder of the 90s.
The Mariners would have been a dynasty that the Yankees wouldn't have gotten had the Mariners even if they just stand put, like even if they stand pat and they didn't make any moves in 95, they would have made a run because they had A-Rod on the way anyway. So you would have had A-Rod,
right,
and Mike Blowers and Luis Sojo just for craps and giggles. And you probably wouldn't have DFA'd Luis Sojo, which the Mariners did after August 31st, because after August 31st, that was when they got rid of Luis Sojo, because they were like, well, we got Dave Holland, so bye-bye, Sojo. And Sojo became a big part of the Yankees team.
Right. You know, that's the thing. It's like when I think about it, it's like that's what bugs me is they gave the Yankees the last two pieces to their dynasty picture.
As Tyler Locklear just fielded that, and they finally put him on. About time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like we got prime John Allroot starting in 2000, so we had him here for like 4 years, and I thought that was a lot better than the one prime year of Tino, because we got Tino in his early developmental years, which was still good Tino. But yeah, I have my all-time.
And hold that thought,
yeah, go ahead.
I have a defensive play to show you.
Go ahead. 2 hands. You got to
Just
use
a little
both
bit
hands
better.
there.
Just a little better. I'm now batting. What am I batting? I was 2 for 3 and then 2 for 2. So that means I am 4 for 5. And the only time I did not get the hit was because it was an error.
Right.
Helicopter hair, J.P. Crawford. Yep, he's got the helicopter, but he got thrown out of the game. Oh, this game. This game just needs to end. Just end it already. That's where my feeling is.
Yeah, like if I was to do an all-time team, Dan Wilson would be my catcher for now. I have
Same.
a feeling by the end of Cal Raleigh's tenure in Seattle, he probably is that guy. First base is John Allred.
Tina Martinez.
Second base is Brett Boone.
Brett Boone.
Third base is Adrian Beltre.
I put in Kyle Seager.
Shortstop A-Rod.
Same.
Left fielder Jay Buhner.
I put in Ichiro at left field.
Yeah, he's in my right field, but yeah. Junior in center, Ichiro in right, and DH obviously Edgar.
And now here's the pitch to Canzone, and that is a ball. And I did do a show with Couch GM and Trident. I actually did not allow them to put in Griffey because that's just too obvious. So I made them pick other center fielders. The pitch, I think Trident went with Cameron. I went with Cameron, and Couch actually went with Franklin Gutierrez.
Yeah, I mean that's yeah, but you know,
obviously we all agreed that Julio is too early to put him in. Way
right,
too early.
You know, for an all-time team though, it starts and ends with Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh yeah.
There was also the Mickey Brantley era. Mickey was a pretty good defensive center fielder. Obviously, wasn't the offensive player as a guy with a guy like Mike Cameron. And I don't think Franklin Gutierrez had enough time in Seattle really to.
It's sad that his body betrayed him.
Yeah,
and he was a fantastic baseball player. Very athletic, had really great range, coverage. The pitch to Canzone. And now here's a fly ball to right field, and he is there and makes the catch, and that's going to be 1 down. Now the all-time starting pitcher I got Randy Johnson, number 1, Felix, number 2, Moyer, number 3, Garcia, number 4. Number 5, I think I snuck in Jeff Facero. I did not put in any of the current ones right now because it's too early. And that is a foul ball.
See, my 5 is Randy Johnson, obviously. Felix Hernandez, 2. Moyer, 3. Mark Langston, number 4.
Oh, Langston, who turned into Randy Johnson.
And I have Luis Castillo as my 5. I think.
Whoa.
Because, you know, here's the thing. It's like I loved Freddie Garcia. I really do.
0-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Dylan Moore spiked his bat as in frustration, understandably.
But
we got 2 down.
But outside of that 2001 season, Castillo is the better pitcher.
You are correct.
I think La Piedra is the better pitcher. I think Castillo has done enough to at least be the 5th starter in an all-time rotation. I like Jeff Facero too, but you know, Facero had one very, very, very good season.
97, and he was the hero of the 97 playoffs, which tragically that is forgotten because the Mariners lost that series. The pitch. Had the Mariners came back and beat Baltimore, Facero's playoff performance would have been much more remembered. It was heavily underrated. He retired 18 in a row and nearly pitched the complete game. The pitch. And that is strike 3 call. That was outside the zone. And that's going to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. I mean, Ryan Bliss thought of arguing, but he was like, nah, I'm not going to get myself tossed. And I wonder if I have any other highlights noteworthy. I got, well, the close play was weird. A close play at first. that one is even worse.
My bench, by the way, on my all-time team is Cal Raleigh as the backup.
Uh-huh.
I have Kyle Seager on my bench.
Uh-huh.
I have Robbie Cano on my bench.
Aye.
And I have Mike Cameron.
Utility player.
And if I have to have another man on my bench, then it's going to be it's probably going to be JP Crawford.
For my utility, I am torn between.
Actually, it's going to be Mark. That's the thing. It's like, do I take JP or do I take Mark McLemore?
Mark McLemore.
Who was like Mr. Super Utility.
Mark McLemore or Rich Amaral.
Yeah, I'd probably take McLemore.
Rich Amaral actually had a decent bat for a platoon guy. He actually averaged like around 270s when he was on the Mariners. The play got to show this one. It's called Close Play It First.
Let's go one. Let's go one. Pretty intense play.
And that was it. And now we're going into the bottom of the 8th inning. We are back from the break. They're showing the downtown of Cleveland. Land of blue collar. And a pitch. And that is a ball. And Barzardo is still out there. You know this game is over when Barzardo is still pitching. That could be Tyson Miller. The pitch. And that is a foul ball. Rooftop, does your softball team play for fun or do you have tournaments? We do tournaments. It's a league right now. And then based on seeding, that's when they'll do the tournament.
My bullpen, by the way, is Sasaki, Diaz, Rhodes, Nelson, Seawald, and Noam Charlton.
It's about on par with me. I probably wouldn't have put in Charlton, though. Charlton was very erratic. He was a one-hit wonder, unfortunately.
I'll tell you, well, yeah, he had a great second half of 95. I actually thought his 2001 season to end his career was very, very good.
Good way to go out.
As a lefty specialist, it was a pretty good season.
It was very.
You could also throw in a guy like Mike Schooler. A lot of people don't remember Schooler from the
Mike Jackson from '96.
Yeah,
Mariners traded away Mike Jackson to get some guy that was overweight. I forgot his name, but it was Jeffrey Leonard, I think. No, not Jeffrey Leonard.
I know that Jose Mesa is not going to crack this one. Bobby Ayala is not going to crack it. Munoz doesn't even crack it. The Mariners really haven't had a legit back end bullpen piece. Well, obviously Seawald was that guy, but before that, probably Diaz.
Probably, yeah.
And then what?
And
JJ
Tyler
Pitts.
Freeman is up to the plate, and I am so excited for this game to end because after this, I'm gonna eat some little bit of dinner, swing and a miss, strike 2. I'm gonna play some softball with my friend, do some batting practice and training. With this beautiful weather, I cannot waste it. I am not sitting in this computer all night long. Insane.
Yeah.
Get out there, right?
For sure. Looks
and
like
we're looking at
they're
1-2.
It's like they're sticking with Bazzardo.
Yeah, and you would hope that this is going to be at least his last month with the Mariners because Mariners really got to make moves. Like bold prediction: if Mariners don't make a real impact trade, they will miss the playoffs. I'm going to say that right now. Because you got to see what Houston and the Rangers are up to. Mariners will play down to that competition once again. Like there's combinations that they've got to make a move as we got to strike out.
And I actually think the bullpen is probably going to be the first domino to fall. I think you're going to be able to get that at a reasonable price sooner rather than later. But I tend to agree with you because you know that Houston and Texas are going to do something. And yes, it's nice that we have a 10-game lead, but that's not going to last. It's not going to last. And the degree of difficulty from this point forward is only going to get narrower. It's only going to get narrower. So,
and then don't forget we've got in division games still. We still got to deal with Texas twice, and we still got to deal with Houston twice. So that could be swings. Like if Mariners lose all of them, they'll lose the whole division.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, but also it's like, if they can continue to play above 500 against very bad sub 500 teams, that's one thing. But that being said, it's like, we've said this for weeks now. When you look at this roster, there is definitely room for improvement. I've said it.
1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Bizzardo has a much better inning, but does it really matter?
It does not. Both corner outfield spots could use improvement. Both infield spots, third base and first base, could use improvements unless you want to roll with Locklear, which I'd be okay with if they plug third base with a decent bat. Backup catcher, bullpen. Like realistically, they could use 3 very good solid pieces. Like if you told me at the end of it that we walked away with, let's just say that we walked away with Luis Robert Jr., Suarez, and throw out Michael Kopech, I would be happy.
Realistically, I think it's going to be a bullpen and 1 position player. I think that's going to be the most realistic. And it's not, and it even be like splash names. Like I don't like Guerrero's probably not going to happen as much as I want, as much as you're of a Alonso guy more than me.
No, actually, I'm not a Pete Alonso guy. As a matter of fact, I just don't like the idea of trading for a guy who is not going to resign. I would actually be okay with Vlad Jr. because he at least got next year. But if you're talking Blue Jays, I want Bo Bichette more than I want Vlad Guerrero. But
Bo Bichette would make a difference.
But what I will say though is that what we saw in 2022, coming off that offseason, which was a great offseason, and the fact that Dipoto was not afraid to swing for the fences at the deadline makes me think that he's going.
And that Johnny Farmelo thing might be a wake-up call because, I mean, we've already had injury problems. Like Emerson got hurt, Ty Pete missed some time, Montez actually almost got hurt. So how much longer? And the fact is, like, what is Jerry Dipoto doing where he's keeping all those guys in Modesto when they really should be in Everett by now?
Sure. And I just look at this as a situation where the Mariners are very good at drafting and developing, so it's not going to be it's not like they're trading away the farm. And oh, by the way,
it's not like it's 97 where when you lost everything, you lost everything.
Yeah, that was a very different scenario because the only prospect worth a damn was Jose Cruz Jr. and we turned it into 2 bullpen pieces for what we absolutely needed. But I will say that guys like Ty Pete, guys like Johnny Farmelo, guys like Harry Ford, even Tyler Locklear,
they're expendable.
Cole Young. If you're telling me that you can walk away with two very good bats that are 130 WRC plus, that guys who play at an all-star level, I'm doing it, and I'm not thinking twice.
Absolutely not thinking twice. And now here's Josh Rojas. He's taking it for an 0-1. Last try for the Mariners. And now here's a ground ball right to second base to throw to first. And it's in time. And if you're in the casino and you put in $1 for them, actually, let me see what the betting odds are. Now, this is a disclaimer. I do not endorse betting. Don't bet. And if you do bet responsibly. But let's take a look and see what these odds.
Well, if you're going to bet on the underdog, make sure you're betting in a good matchup. That's all I'm going to say.
And now we're looking at Victor. Actually, the game is so bad that you can't even.
I can't believe Victor Robles is on the 26-man roster. It's unbelievable.
It really is. Oh, by the way, so my feeling is if you put in $1 for the Mariners to make a comeback, as we got to play to Jose Ramirez and the Mariners are down to their final out, you put in $1, you might win $1,000 if the Mariners come back and win this game.
Well, You got to start now. But of course, there's a fastball that Cal Raleigh took right down the middle of the plate. I'll just say this, that this team right now does not win the World Series. This team does not get out of the first round of the playoffs.
They're not ready. They got to reload, or just load in general, as he took a 101 strike.
Yeah, I mean, they might, like, that's the thing, is like, if they do nothing, this team does not win the division. Maybe they grab a wild card spot
At the skin of their teeth.
by the skin of their teeth, but they're not getting out of the wild card round.
And we got a strike too, and it's game time.
Incomplete.
It's very incomplete. Right now, Mariners kind of got lucky with Texas and Houston on their bad side, and who is to say that Texas in their second half, don't mess with them.
Well, this is what the blueprint was in
2021. And now here's a ground ball. This should do it. The throw to first, and that is in time on a 102 mile an hour fastball, as the Mariners will go down in the second game of this 3-game series and
shut out.
Shut out completely. The offense was just absolutely nothing.
Non-existent. It did not.
The bullpen didn't do any better to at least keep it interesting.
Nope.
And you couldn't even blame it on Brian Wu. Like, Brian Wu, I won't even put anything of it on them. Maybe like a few things, like he could have pitched a little bit better to avoid those home runs.
Yeah, Brian just didn't have good fastball command today, and the Guardians punished him. I mean, they jumped out to a quick 1-0 lead, and then there was the two-run home run. But I'll give them this for a guy that struggled with command. He was able to at least hang in there and keep this game within 3 runs. But that's the thing. It's like that's 50% of the equation. The other half comes from your offense. And the Mariners, I believe it was in the 3rd and the 4th, started the inning off with a double. They had runners in scoring position in 2 straight innings and failed to bring even one of those runs in. I had mentioned by the 5th, I mean, the game should have been 4-2 at one point. And if they pick up those runs, it's a different equation. And maybe things, Service plays it a little bit differently. But then, JP gets tossed, Service gets tossed. And then all of a sudden it goes down the tubes in a hurry. Bauman has a performance where he gets the first 2 outs of the innings, and then he absolutely gets crushed. And then Eduardo Bizarro gets crushed again. I guess there's that old saying, when it rains, it pours, and it certainly poured in Cleveland today.
Yeah, and weather's not exactly great in Cleveland, and Cleveland really showed it to them today, unfortunately. And going into the next game, it's going to be the battle of Luis Castillo La Piedra versus Logan Allen, and Logan Allen's not going to be another easy guy either. So you would hope that the Mariners are going to somehow at least try to win this game to take 2 out of 3 to prove that they can compete against a playoff contender, because I don't want to have the mindset where they're like, oh, we lost 2 out of 3. It's okay. We've got Miami and Tampa. It's all good. Can't have that mindset one bit.
No, as a matter of fact, like you might have if you were able to win today. But that being said, you can't. But the good news is Castillo's going tomorrow, and he's been good as of late over his last 5 starts. He's been fantastic. But here we go, left-hander tomorrow in Logan Allen. Throws his 4-seam fastball, only tops out at 91. He throws it basically 50% of the time, and then he's got the sweeper and the change that he mixes, and a cutter that he mixes all pretty much equally. And when you're looking at this guy, this year he's like 7-3 with a 5.30 ERA, 69 2/3. But you look at some of his starts, and he's hittable. I mean, he kind of gives up the long ball a little bit, he averages 5 1/3 innings per start. So it's not like you can't get after him early. So his win-loss record looks to be one thing, but you get into his batted ball numbers, and it looks like he's easily hittable. So for the Mariners, it's ideally you want to see 2 runs in the first inning tomorrow.
Hopefully, and we're talking about the first inning is where the Mariners have got to score early, and
Yep.
we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's going to be tough. And if they did win this game, then maybe we can say, okay, if they lose the third game, fine, whatever. But you really can't, because losing series do add up. And I know everyone's going to say, well, the Mariners have a 10-game lead, but right now it's not September. This is June, where things change fast. And if I'm looking at the standings, or actually, let's look at the scoreboard and see how the other guys did, because nobody really has a day off. Rangers and Mets are tied, and Houston is leading Chicago with 2 men on. So after today, the 10-game lead is not a thing anymore.
Sure. And that's the, as we're looking at the games played, you're absolutely right. It looks like Texas is leading, the Mets in the 4th, and same thing with the Astros. And so the last thing you want to do is lose ground, especially when you could have controlled the outcome. And for as good as they were this last week, they were 6-1, scored a bunch of runs. You were kind of hoping to see that, that carry over. I'll say this though. They did an excellent job yesterday, and of course you're not going to win them all, but you don't want to see this situation where you can only manage 3 hits. And, if you're going to lose, okay, fine. If you give up 8 runs, fine, but you kind of want to see it like 8-4, 8-5, at least show a pulse on offense. You know what I mean?
At least die trying.
Yeah. And
don't lose in vain.
Yeah. I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of Tyler Locklear on this roster, and you're not going to play him. I'm at that point where I've seen enough of Ty France to know that the Ty France of 2021, 2022 is over. He's going to be a guy of what we've seen. I realized that before he got hurt, he was starting to come around a little bit, but for the most part, he's not a guy that uses the entire field anymore. And that gap to gap power is no longer there. For whatever reason, he just decided to sell out for pull side power, and it's drastically
it's really hurt his game. And what's very ironic is when he wasn't trying to hit home runs, he actually hit more home runs. And now that he's actually trying to hit home runs, his home runs actually fell. And Ty France, if you want some advice, just check out my softball video where I at least know where to hit. Like, I know my hit is in my other league that is 2 steps above this church league. That's a routine pop-up that I hit. But at least I knew where to hit. It was about where to hit than how to hit, because in that league it's about the where to hit. Now in my softball league, it's purely how to hit.
Right. That's the thing. It's like I'm at that point where, when I was looking at like Locklear's numbers over the week, you saw the power, and you would like to think that the strikeouts were a little high. But that being said, Rayleigh had 4, Julio had 6, and it was all of them had pretty much close to similar numbers for the week. I just want to see, you brought him up for a reason, okay? But just like you brought Ryan Bliss up for a reason, Bliss is playing. And when you do that with a guy like that, you got to play him. And I think you're doing it. I think you're doing your team and your prospect a disservice by keeping him on the bench. Even bringing him in a mop-up duty like tonight is not going to suffice, because he needs to have his at bats. And I'm not necessarily saying DFA Ty France, but if you're looking for bullpen help right now before the trade deadline, before everything gets into swing, and you can swing a deal for a team like Chicago who needs a first baseman, a team like Miami who needs a first baseman, in order to get that bullpen piece, you can package Ty France up with a very good prospect and get that bullpen arm that you need right now, and you will be okay.
Which is needed, because Ty France, like we agree, like his days are over.
Yeah.
And Tyler Locklear, he's already kind of gotten that first impression out of me where he already hit the 2 bombs, even though he strikes out a lot, but
Yeah.
he does get the big hits when he needs to. And Ty France doesn't necessarily do that.
You know, I like Locklear's makeup at the plate. He doesn't look like a deer in headlights. He looks like a kid who's making his first major league. He's getting his first cup of tea. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, but you can withstand that. You can withstand that knowing that you got other guys in the lineup who are going to be able to hit. And like I said, over the course of this last week, you know, when the Mariners were taking 3 out of 4 from Chicago and sweeping Texas, they scored 27 runs over the week. That's 4.5 runs per game. And when you get the starting pitching like they did, that's enough, man. That's enough. Because they weren't taxing their bullpen. They were getting at least 7. They were getting 6 to 7 innings out of their starters. And it was, you know, it was good enough to win. And, you know, I just think in a situation like this, it's time like that. It's time to make uncomfortable decisions.
Which includes trading Ty France, which includes
he's got value on the market.
Just gotta find anything like we agree, cannot stand pat because Mariners have done that. They stood pat, and actually nobody talks about it. In 2001, they actually stood pat, and in some ways it may have backfired for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then 2002 was the biggest one. That is the most famous stand patting job was 2002, and the whole goal is not to win the World Series. Goal is to field a competitive team year after year. Quote by Howard Lincoln. And then 2003 was basically 2002 sequel, and we don't want to see that again. Like
that was 2003 was when Nelson popped off to the media and he was traded to New York, right? 2003.
That was the one. And then Howard Lincoln's like, nah, we just wanted Armando's like, nah, you wanted you canceled Nelson.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy is that, that was obvious. That was obviously ownership in 2001 not giving Gillick, you know, another $4 million to get that right-handed bat because they missed A-Rod. You know, the crazy thing though is that we saw, and I'll give this for ownership too, because in 2022, that offseason going into that, you know, Dipoto does a very good job and brings in 3 all-star level players. Suarez, Winker, and Adam Frazier, and then at the deadline he swung for the fences. Man, you have to give him credit, and it leads me to believe that this year there's even more of an opportunity because the Mariners do have a big lead in the division right now. They're not chasing, you know, they hold it down, and they have no excuse not to do it. You know what I mean? Like every reason for them to swing big for the fences this year. Every reason is there. It has to be done.
It has to be. And we all agree.
And it can't be the Josh Rojas's or Dominic Canzones of the world. Basically, triple A level players. Yeah, you got to get names.
Because Rojas is going to be at best. I mean, we don't regret. And I know I was one of those fans that was like, put in Rojas every day. Put in Rojas every day. But and we saw it, and honestly, it was worth it. It was worth it just to see if he could do it, but he can't. Yeah. But he can be effective in other ways, like coming off the bench, which I'm sure he would not mind at all. I don't think he's going to lose sleep over that.
No, I mean,
maybe
as long as he's got a spot in the 26-man roster, as long as he's playing, I think he'll be fine. But you know, I'm almost convinced at this time that even swinging for Pete Alonso, even though he's going to be gone after this season, I don't necessarily like it. But if they made a big swing and got Pete Alonso, that would be unbelievable.
And it would show that they have something else. If Pete Alonso trade does not work out, then maybe they have other things. And the other reason why you got to make these trades, because you make a trade so that Texas and Houston, you got to beat them to the punch. Now, I'm not saying trade everything and trade just to make a trade, but trade some of those key quality players so that way the Texas Rangers and the Astros can't get them. Because let's say if Astros somehow got like Texas or the Astros, let's say if they swung in and got any of those key players like Luis Roberts Jr.
Right.
in our own division, that would be
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you're going to have to make those uncomfortable decisions, and that means you're going to have to trade away prospects that you might like, or you might feel are going to have a future in later years, but you can't worry about 2028, 2029, and 2030. You just can't worry about that now, right? Your job is to worry about 2024 and 2025. That's it. The rest of this year, next year, and if they ended up with like Pete Alonso and Dalton Varsho, that would be a phenomenal deadline, because you get your everyday left fielder, and you get Pete Alonso, obviously, and that means you don't have to play Mitch Haniger every day in right field.
Oh my God! And Mitch Haniger,
because now
it is worse than I thought. Like, it's done. Unfortunately, it seems that his days are numbered.
Yeah, for sure. He's 33, and the best years of his career behind him. And I'm the biggest Mitch Haniger fan, and but I will have to admit that I was wrong about Mitch. And I think, like, in a vacuum, like if you're using him against left-handed pitchers pitching only, or maybe he's only playing twice a week, and you got Varsho in left, and then you got Luke Raley playing right field versus right-handed pitching. And then, you're bringing Haniger off the bench versus lefty. I think you're probably going to maximize whatever's left, whatever he's got left in the tank.
We'll have to see. And honestly, there's a part of me that's like, you know what? Maybe losing this game was kind of worth it, only because it gives everyone a reality check. Like, hey, they have a 10-game lead. They're on a roll, but this is also what we see. This is also the Mariners that we should be aware of too. Yeah. Like, don't just because sometimes maybe fans are they're just looking at the standings going, oh yeah, 10 games ahead. But people like us, we're watching the games. We're watching the highlights.
I'm like, don't get me wrong. I'm very proud that they were able to take advantage of the schedule to get themselves in this. But the reality is simple. It's like, if you think that the offense is a problem in the regular season, do you think that all of a sudden magically they're going to start winning playoff games? When you've
of course not, because you're right. Because then you're going up against teams with actual pitching. Like,
there was a couple articles that I read today, and one of them was like, what does this team look like if they do nothing at the deadline? Well, they look the same. Okay. And then there was one that said, the Orioles and the Yankees would be scared to face Seattle in the postseason.
No,
I'm like, that's bullshit.
I saw that when John Morosi says, man, I don't want to play I'm like, yes, you do.
Yes, you do, because the two things that the Yankees do well, believe it or not, is pitch. They pitch well. And if the Mariners are in a 5-game series versus the other team, they're going to lose that game probably 3-1. I'll give the Mariners, some credit to think that they could win a playoff game in the series. But in a 7-game series, they probably get swept. And in a 5-game series, they probably get swept too, because this team is not going to score 6 runs a game in the postseason. Like, they'd be lucky to score 2.
The 97 Mariners couldn't even do that against Mike Mussina. Like, they had the record offense.
Yeah, and they had 3 first ballot Hall of Famers in their lineup. I know Edgar wasn't a first ballot, but A-Rod should be, but he's not. But you get what I'm saying. They have 3 Hall of Famers in their lineup, and they couldn't get past Mike Mussina.
Except Edgar hit 2 home runs, but it was kind of when the game was like, meh. Like, Griffey was absolutely humiliated, and the point we're trying to make is like, if the 90s Mariners could not do anything in the playoffs, that should be telling you that you at least got to do something for the playoffs, because
and it's
you're not going to be.
Do you think that New York or Baltimore fear Julio Rodriguez?
Oh, of course not.
Do you think they fear Cal Raleigh?
No.
Now, if you were to add, say, like Pete Alonso,
Luis Robert Jr.
or Luis Robert Jr. or Bo Bichette to that,
you are fearing them. You're going to be like, holy crap.
And you add that to Julio, Cal Raleigh, and Luke Raley, or you get Pete Alonso and Dalton Varsho, and you add that to that. Now all of a sudden you have a lineup that you actually have to pay attention to, because now you've given what? Protection. You've given those guys protection.
Protection's needed, and that will help like the Julios. Because look at Teoscar, he has unlimited protection, which is why he's absolutely dominant.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's gonna be on the home run derby, he's gonna be in the All-Star game, and you're gonna have all the Mariner fans going, "Man, if he stayed in Seattle, he'd do that." No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't. You know, and that's the thing. It's like,
which I mean, we'll take a 2023 Teoscar, but he's not going to be the Dodgers Teoscar for the Mariners. Not going to happen.
Well, you know, and what's funny is like I understand the MO of Jerry Dipoto wanting to get club control. Or if you're going to trade for a big name, you want a couple of years left on his contract because you don't want it just to be for the rest of this year. You know, even if it's only for next year as well, too, you would probably take that over a rental. But that being said, though, it's not like the Mariners don't have a history of going out and getting rental players for postseason runs because the Mariners have done it. They have gone out and got rental.
95 for I think they did it for Bennis and Coleman. 96 was Dave Hollins and Mark Whitten.
Yeah, and I think in 95 that was also Tim Belcher as well too. They got
Tim Belcher. They brought him in like sometime in like May.
Yeah,
to like bolster the starting pitching.
Yeah, but I think he was on a final year of his contract, or maybe
he was because he signed with Kansas City after that.
Right. So you know, I think that they have a history of doing it, and you know what? Here's the thing: it's like if you can get a rental at a price that makes sense, you do it. But you know, that being said, I think you and I are speaking the same language. You have to go out and get a name. Mr. Sticky was saying, do you think the Mariners could get Mason Millers from the A's, and what is he worth trading? If he's available, you never know with the A's. Certain guys might be available, certain guys might be not. But yeah, obviously Mason Miller would be great. And you're getting club control. And if you're getting a pitcher like that who's got club control, the price is probably going to go up, and you're probably looking at least
substantial.
You're looking at least one top 5 prospect, one top 10 prospect, and you're probably looking at
throw-in something
in another throw-in prospect.
A quality throw-in, we're saying. I think that's going to take like 3 of those things. I think, based on what the Oakland A's have, I think they're going to ask for the likes of like Harry Ford, Cole Young, and then I think they're going to even tinker with Emerson Hancock. I think they would even put him in the conversation.
I would think that if they said, if we offered Dom Canzone, Cole Young, and a guy like
Carmelo, if he was healthy, Ty Pete.
Ty Pete. If you said Cole Young, Ty Pete, and Dom Canzone,
and that got us Mason Miller,
or even the young kid that they just converted from starter to reliever in Double-A, Logan Evans.
Logan Evans.
Yeah, Logan Evans. So if you said Cole Young,
Logan Evans,
Tom Canzone, and Logan Evans for Mason Miller, that would be.
And
a good
if Oakland
start.
said yes, and if Oakland was like, "Here, do this," I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it."
Or Ty France, Logan Evans, and Cole Young.
Oh, I'll do that within 2 seconds.
100, and you get a guy like Mason Miller at the back end.
And actually, some will even argue the A's got fleeced in that deal.
Maybe, but you get Cole Young, who is a top 5 prospect in our organization. So you get a top prospect, but we're also talking about a very good high end bullpen arm. But I have a feeling that there's going to be, like, if the A's made him available, there's going to be an arms race for a dude like Mason Miller. You would probably think that your best bet to get somebody off the A's might be Brent Rooker. I'd even kick the tires
and Mason Miller. Why don't we just do that? Because the other thing I look at too is John Fisher does not care about the team. He just wants to go to Vegas, and they're already going to go to Sacramento. So it's not like they're going to build anything.
Well, here's the thing. Dave Cavill's their president of baseball operations, and he is looking, because you have to, like, they're looking ahead, right? So it's like, you might be right for the next year, maybe not so much, but there's a reason why they like getting bulk prospects, right? They like getting bulk prospects, and it's not, it's a little bit different because, they're also looking 3 years down the road. So I would think that might be enough. But that being said, and as much as Mason Miller would be phenomenal, I think there's going to be an arms race, and there's going to be teams that are going to be throwing in prospects and players off their major league roster to get a dude like Mason Miller. I would think a guy like the guy that I like is Brent Rooker, obviously, but from the Detroit Tigers, man, Kerry Carpenter, third baseman for the Tigers, who's a very good player. That makes a lot of sense for the Mariners. Luis.
But realistically, they're going to get some mid bullpen guy, and for bat, Eugenio Suarez. That's probably to be the most realistic trades, unfortunately.
I can't see them. That's the thing. It's like it can't just be getting Santos back because we have no idea when that's going to happen.
And he may not even be good. He could be a bust.
They always talk about the fans always talk about the Mariner bullpen factor, and they always point to Sewald or Stecken Ryder, and like that's the exception. But look at the totality of it, right? The moves that they always make are always DFA scrap pile heap signings. Mid-season, somebody will DFA some guy, and the Mariners will pick them up and then try to maximize them. And sometimes it's serviceable. We've seen in this year Cody Bolton, Mike Bauman. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it's serviceable. But that being said, it's like they're going to need another legit high leverage arm, and that's only going to happen by outside of the organization.
Yeah,
that's the only way that's going to happen. They can't DFA their way into one of these guys.
No, they can't keep going into the streets and go, "Hey, you're the pitcher." Ain't gonna work.
I mean, it's different because coming into 2021, there was no pressure on the Mariners to win in 2021. That 90-win season came out of nowhere. And, Paul Sewald had no expectations, and he was able to put it together. But now in a situation where you're leading the division, you cannot afford DFA reclamation project.
You can't moneyball your way out of this one.
Yeah, it's like you're going to, like, Devin Williams in Milwaukee would be phenomenal. Getting that dude from the Brewers would be great.
Just getting anyone that's
Matt Moore from, Matt Moore from Tampa Bay. That would be interesting.
Well, last question, and I think we're going to head off because, man, we've had a pretty lengthy post-game show, which was not expected, but cool. When the A's move to Vegas, will they transplant the same players, or a lot of them be free agents? I would think that they're going to use Sacramento as like their springboard, or the little bridge time to like build all their players, and then once they get to Vegas, they'll have somewhat of an attractive contending team. And Oakland did show some kind of scare in the beginning of the season, mostly because of Mason Miller, but then we all knew that it was not exactly going to last. And now Sacramento could be the time where they're going to build what they've got in the farm system, because Oakland does have a farm system second to none.
Sure.
I would still say it's better than the Mariners farm system because they know how to grow players. Like they literally have a field of plants where they can grow things easily.
Yeah, Oakland's always had a very good minor league system, and this is dating back to the 80s and 90s. But the thing about it is no, I don't see them using Sacramento as a springboard to anything. What's funny is John Fisher. Like, do you trust anything that comes out of John Fisher's mouth?
Nobody does.
Exactly. And so when he says that, when he gets the stadium, it'll open up revenue, blah 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 blah. But the reality is they're going to continue this Moneyball brand of baseball, right? Maybe the only thing that changes is that they extend some of the young players instead of
retaining players. Yeah,
maybe that changes.
If Fisher was if the Oakland A's were in Vegas in 2000 after 2001, they at least probably would have kept Giambi. They probably wouldn't have kept Damon. They would have at least kept Giambi.
They would have kept Mulder, Hudson, Zito in the rotation. They probably
Miguel
Tejada, Chavez. They probably would have kept the bulk of that core together. But the crazy thing is that maybe that changes. But as far as like the A's being aggressive in free agency, no. Maybe they get aggressive in the trade market because that might be the only way to get people to come to Las Vegas. Like, it's the A's. This isn't like the Dodgers moving to Las Vegas. This is the A's. And the A's do not have a good reputation around baseball. I don't like even moving to Las Vegas. I still don't think that's attractive enough for free agents to want to come to play for John Fisher after they saw this debacle. So
Exactly, yeah.
I would probably think that the only thing that changes is that they're able to retain players. But even then, I still don't see it. I actually think that Moneyball will live on in Las Vegas.
Unfortunately so. Well, I think we've gone through as much as we possibly can. I mean, this game was a great example of saying, yeah, we're not quite there yet. They still got moves to make, but we can go on about it all night long. But Steve, you gotta get ready for bed. I gotta get outside because the sun is still blasting. I want to get some outside time. But everyone, thank you very much for being on this show, and hopefully I'll be back for maybe the Marlins game on Friday, but I can't guarantee that. But until then, everyone have a great night and go Mariners.
Go M's.